Man, so I gotta wait till Tuesday. Okay. Oh my God. I just need to keep hearing that right there. Hey, you are awesomely awesome, and you're the best. You're the best. Bless. Just hell. I can't even sound. I don't even know what to say.
Had a vision for 20 in the morning, thinking of my little sisters in mourning, struggling with realities, no melodies, holidays ain't the same, everything's changed. No Bowie, no Prince, and no Michael, no Andre Crouch and the Disciples, no Walter, Edwin or Derek Coley, no Whitney, no George Michael. Toys R Us gone bankrupt. Damn, the Guitar Center went bankrupt. Everything from my childhood's missing, man. Man, I swear it's such a fooled up feeling, man. I'm not mad, it's a simple observation. And I'm not sad, but it's not a celebration. I'm just trying to put the pieces back together, man. Everything's falling through my fingers like sand. It seems a tighter that I'm gripping. It seems the more that I am slipping. I feel like I lost everything I love. And where's this alleged agape love? In churches ain't the same. Gospel music just ain't the same. R&B it just ain't the same. But y'all keep telling me it's the same. But I ain't feeling nothing, damn it. And I don't wanna reach up and grab it. Shots fired, get to dunking. Always knew they were out to something. This ain't no future when you're frontin'. And y'all know you still out here fool. I'm not a baby, bro, I'm grown. Don't leave me standing out here alone. That's why I wrote this song. Because I know I'm not alone. What are we out here doing? What are we out here saying? People don't care no more. So forget I don't care no more. This is too much for you to handle. I was always too much to handle. There ain't nothing new about me. You don't want authenticity. You don't want sincerity. 2020 brought me clarity. Now I see who you really are. No mask wearing, mailbox wrecking, racist motherfucker. Let's go. Homie, you don't really want it. Sis, you don't really want it. I'm your nightmare opponent. Walking in a new anointing. Walking past all your bullets. Nothing in your trigger bullet. Try and pull it again. No weapon missed again. Tired of talking about changes. Tired of going through changes. Lie after lie. Lie after lie. Republicans and the Democrats. Prime ministers and bureaucrats. Senators and aristocrats. HBO and Cinemax. Film the babies in the cages. Babies dying in the cages. I ain't forgot about the cages. And if you did, then you're a racist. Calling it out like it is. Call it out like it is. We've been indoors for a year. And we're heading for another year. Lights off for Cologne. High interest student loans. Living in a pandemic. Calculated and systemic. Start with black folks first. Kill that melanin first. Press us down and we pop up. Press us down and we pop back up. Speaking of getting it poppin', I heard you wanna get it poppin'. 400 years pent up. I guess you really wanna get fucked up. We ain't playing with that ass. I'll get all up in that ass. Been doing wrong for too long. Time to sing a brand new song. Free at last. Free at last. Thank God Almighty. We're free at last. Free of all of your religion. All your European religion. All of your biased decisions. All of your wicked intentions. It didn't work back then. Ain't gonna work now. We were peaceful back then. But we get rowdy now. Let's get ready to rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. Sick of being here anyway. Can somebody shout change? Change! 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 look ahead for the team. Took a bullet for the dream that we would one day all be free, free from prejudice, free from sexism, free from bigotry. I die for creativity. I die for freedom to be free. I died and left a legacy. Oh, but baby, I'm still live through technology. After the sun, then comes the rain. And after the storm, the sun will start shining. Glasses of pain, and tears of pain, and tears of pain, and a dash of struggle. Just be patient. Your destiny will manifest. Yes, photosynthesis.
Welcome to hell, motherfuckers. What's going on, y'all? Hope everybody's doing well on this Saturday. I believe it's Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Saturday evening. Baby, we are in the midst of the countdown, girl. Until the election is here, yielding the results that will determine the future of this country and the people therein. Now, if you have not been listening, a lot of content creators are speaking more about the election. Again, shout out to CTV, baby, the last 2 lives that he did. No shade, girl. I was smoking what strain I was smoking, girl? It's called Mafia Funeral. I was smoking on a Mafia Funeral, girl, listening to the commentary, and it's like, well, all of the men who are the kings and the strong ones and the soldiers and the ones that know what to do in the midst of chaos, and they are the leaders, those individuals are going to get the opportunity to prove that, not just say it and perform it online, but to actually walk that out in real life. Because if Trump becomes president, a lot of individuals that are voting for him that are people of color are going to eat their own words. And not only are they going to eat their own words, unfortunately, their children and everybody's children are going to have to eat those words. The fact that there are black men choosing Trump over Kamala because she is a woman, and because of the misinformation, and let Unc over at the Defiant lawyers say it, disinformation about Kamala to persuade black voters to not vote for her. But you are going to vote for the exact same person that the Proud Boys and those that are part of the Klan or any sort of white superiority, supremacy type of attitude are voting for him. And it's funny because a lot of times you will hear a lot of people say that some black men are like the white men within the black community, and here it is, the election is proving that is exactly what they are. We ain't got to lie, Craig. Okay? What's going on, Harold? So this is going to be quite a lengthy live because we have 4 videos to get through. I'm going to be eating, okay, no shade, so I might be quiet for a little bit, so it may help things go by a little bit faster than normal. But you know, this is crunch time and we have to get the information out there. There's a lot of fear and ignorance floating about. We see them on all these red pill spaces, all these black hotep spaces. And unfortunately, because we have not come together and tried to find a gray area, because we're afraid of each other, now we're stuck in this predicament together. And if we don't get our shit together, the next generation and the generation after them, unfortunately, are going to fall under the same cyclic spell that we have fallen under, especially those who are not trying to be woke. I don't mean woke in the way that it's demonized now. I mean woke in reference to, we all know how America is. We can all feel the tension in the air. And maybe it's time for us to fully deal with it, as opposed to what we've been doing, pretending and walking on eggshells and creating a society where we just don't want to rock the boat. No, 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 no. The Titanic is sinking. It is sinking. And if you don't do your due deals as far as your research and study to show thyself approved and even challenge your own ego, you will be voting for your own demise. Point blank and period. So before we get into this live, boom. Copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. All the videos, songs, images, and graphics used in this live belong to their respective owners, and BubzDaGawd does not claim any right over them. So the first video that we're going to take a look at on this Saturday evening is a black pastor, no shade, that lives in Detroit who says that his life was a lot better and that a lot of other black people's lives were a lot better under the Trump administration. So we're going to take a listen to what he had to say as an individual who is a black man going to vote for Trump. Let's take a listen, shall we?
This street tells the biggest story.
There isn't much grand about Detroit's Grand River Avenue. Not along this part, at least. North of gentrified downtown is uptown, forgotten.
What you'll see down Grand River is, I mean, it's so bad. It's completely desolate. All black people. And then as soon as you hit downtown, the racial dynamics change. That's our situation. Look.
Lorenzo.
So he starts off by actually talking about the racial disparity that's happening. If Trump was such a good president during his term, his run, that area that he's speaking about right now in reference to voting for Trump a second time, that area would have been fixed. There would have been money coming into those areas. So again, for the black people that are saying that Trump helped black people, where has he poured into black neighborhoods? Where is that at? Let's continue.
Sewell has been a local pastor here for the last few years.
So when President Trump said Detroit needs help, this is it. Look, right here.
A few days ago, Barack Obama, spooked by the polls clearly, had this.
We have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. That seems to be more pronounced with the brothers.
Brothers, help the black woman. I was really offended by it. What did he do for black people? It's almost like they want to seduce us with Obama to say, oh, President Obama, now you got to vote. Now you got to vote for Vice President Harris. Do they think we don't have political prowess? We may be poor and black, but that doesn't mean we're stupid.
I don't think nobody's saying stupid. And again, if you listen to the context of what what Obama was saying in reference to those black men, was to say that if you're going to vote for Trump, make sure you're voting for Trump because you have factual, objective things where you can prove that he has been better for the black community than any other president. And that you're not voting for Trump simply because Kamala Harris is a female and a female of color. And again, if Trump did an amazing job during his first term, then why isn't that area where he's from, why has there not been money there? Because they're going to show a clip of Trump. You know, Trump came to the hood. He came to the hood. Yeah, just like how there's niggas who made it out the hood and they come back to the hood once or twice a year to give away free turkeys and shit for Thanksgiving, or some clothes and some money and shit. $100, $200, $300, $400, $500 one time, as opposed to being an individual who takes his resources and also pours into the community to where it benefits them, as opposed to just that one day in that one moment. That is a continual benefit. Has Trump done that for the black community, especially in Detroit? Because I live in Detroit, and trust me, if Trump was doing some shit, niggas know shit about word of mouth. Niggas gonna speak. They gonna share shit. Black Twitter already be crazy. I'm pretty sure it would have been over Black Twitter that Trump was helping the niggas. But how is he helping the niggas when the people who don't like niggas also voting for him? Let's continue.
President Trump is there. I'm here.
It was back in June when Lorenzo was drawn to Donald Trump, the former president praying with him here at the church.
President Obama never came to the hood, so to speak, right? President Joe Biden, he went to the big NAACP dinner, but he never came to the hood. So thank you. Thank you, Pastor.
There are plenty within his orbit who are openly racist. And he encourages that with his language, with his rhetoric, all the time.
Of course there are things that President Trump says that I don't like because I'm a Christian, right? I prefer them to say it a different way, but I'm not voting for a pastor. I'm not voting for a pastor.
You're voting, oh, you say what?
I'm voting for a leader.
You're voting for a leader who also is supposed to share the same Christian values as you, because a lot of Christian people are supporting Trump. And if somebody is going to be the leader of the country, they need to be vetted. And in the words of CTV, y'all can sit over here and vet the fuck out of Kamala Harris, trying to throw hypotheticals her way of what if and what could be, but y'all not giving that same smoke to Trump and J.D. Vance, especially Trump, since he has already been president. Y'all niggas not grilling him about the fact that he knew that Carisha-19 was in America 3 months. For 3 months, he knew it didn't say shit. How in the Defiant lawyers, again, a civil rights lawyer, and we're going to see one of his videos later on this evening, literally shared the numbers of how Trump literally inherited a good economy and then fucked it up. To the point to where Joe Biden over here having damn near early onset dementia and shit because he trying to fix the shit. Wow, girl.
Maybe people don't like him, but the world was stable when he was around. Gas was cheaper. I know that my bills were cheaper. Life was better under President Trump.
Life was better, unfortunately, under C-19 because they started giving out stimulus checks. The same poor people that he's talking about were the same poor people who literally said that even though this was the age of debt, or not era, but it was a time of intense death and destruction, that some people were living their best lives financially because they were able to finally get something financially. And I don't know if it's because us as black people, we're so used to chaos that we've learned to adapt to it and it's become a part of our norm, but that is not normal. We need to learn how to live as well and not just survive.
Everybody knows it.
Of course, hardly everybody. Detroit is a Democratic city by a wide margin, but in a key swing state, if Donald Trump can pull just a few, or if they don't vote at all, then Michigan could well be his.
And so she's saying, if you don't agree with me on something, let's talk about it.
Further down Grand River Avenue, an evening gathering organized by a Democratic Party in a state of angst. Black men for Harris is the tag.
I think most black men in America are determining not do they want to vote for Kamala or Trump, it's do they want to vote for the vice president or stay home.
When you look at Donald Trump, again, you find a lot of platitudes and generalities. And there is more concrete policy with Kamala.
It's imperative that we win Michigan at all costs. And there's really only one choice. Vice President Harris is the candidate of decency, integrity, and for the people.
The problem I'm sort of finding as I travel around, not just Michigan, but elsewhere, is that she may be all of those things, but people are voting on the economy, on their back pocket, and you know, they like decency, but they're not going to pay for it.
But they like common sense, and people are good judges of character in general context, and so I don't believe that there's a problem. I believe the American people will speak up on November 5th, and we'll have a new president, and her name will be Vice President Kamala Harris.
Outside, a hint of another factor. Jill Stein is the progressive, green, independent candidate. If she takes enough Democratic votes, then Harris is in big trouble.
I think the Democratic Party has left black voters in the dust. We've been one of the most, if not the most, loyal voting bloc.
And some will go left, like you, and some will go right.
Yeah, but again, look, this is America. If that's it, that's how it goes.
And then, from a passerby, this.
You put Trump on it.
What's that?
Put Trump on it.
Representative of the majority.
You going for Trump? Yeah?
No, but a concern for Harris in such a tight race, for sure. Mark Stone, Sky News in Detroit.
Shout out to Sky News. Now, to the individual's point, black people are the strongest voting bloc, of course, because we had to fight for the right to vote. And it's crazy because even though Kamala and Trump be kind of going neck and neck, especially since we're getting towards the end of this election, that the factoring votes or the very important votes that could make or break this election is black people. Now, because we have not come together and worked out our own shit and rectified our own situations, we are stuck with this dilemma or these choices. What I propose is, after this election, whoever the president is, black people need to realize their power, because this country was built off of the backs of our ancestors. The financial stability or the financial pillar, shall I say, of America to be the greatest nation in the world was built off the backs of slaves through the labor of cotton. So we've always been a very driving force here. If black people could come together and maybe go down the independent route, maybe if black people took their monies and invested it some way into blackness to elect people like us who care about our values and what it is that we desire to have collectively, and then put that on an independent path, we could probably do something. Because I'm pretty sure there are people on the left and people on the right who literally want to find the gray area, who realize that, yes, we all live in this country together, so we have to find a way to make this work. If we can get those people together and split the fucking bird down the middle, then maybe, just maybe, we might start to manifest blackness getting over the hump, so that the hope and the dream of the slaves can manifest for its descendants. But I'm telling you right now, voting for Trump is speaking clearly, objectively against that, even though he's an individual who literally telling you what he's gonna do. Now, the second video is the attempt to go around to different areas within black communities and asking black men, hey, have you taken the time out to read Project 2025? And then in this video clip, they're going to bring up things that are alarming for blackness as a whole. Fuck black man, black woman, black child. Blackness as a whole. Girl. Okay, then when the purge start happening in real life, girl, I don't want to hear shit. Let's get it.
I've heard of Project 2025 and I've read inserts of Project 2025.
No, I haven't. Actually, I haven't heard about it at all.
No, I haven't heard about it. I just heard Project 2025 was something that wasn't for us or something to try to eliminate us slowly but surely. I could be wrong, but I know it ain't nothing good for us.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Hello, my name is Tyrone Howard, professor of education at UCLA. And what I'd like to bring to your attention are some of the concerning and disturbing aspects of Project 2025 that we in the Black community should be concerned about.
Federal education policy should be limited, and ultimately, the Federal Department of Education should be eliminated.
Black men, how y'all feel about that? In the words of Conscious Lee, education is elevation. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. For you Christians out there, my people perish by the lack of knowledge. So again, the black man that's voting for Trump, how do you feel voting for a president, and especially the individuals who are waiting for a Republican president to put this project into effect via the Heritage Foundation? How do you feel that they're going to eliminate the Department of Education so that your black child can't be educated? They can't understand how to thrive and be successful in this country, especially in a legal way, if they don't even know how to fucking read.
Outrageous. That's just complete nonsense.
There's no clarity here as to what this really means. Are we eliminating resources? Are we eliminating things? And who is this being eliminated for? There's already a shortage of resources that young black kids get. What are we going to do if we don't provide the same education resources for everyone?
I think Project 2025 is something that's going to set us back about 20 years.
Wow. I don't think enough people are educated on just how bad this 2025 thing is.
Sorry, I'm eating. Eliminate critical race theory in grades K through 12. Meaning, that literally they're going to whitewash blackness, or better yet, try to hide and suppress what they have consistently and consecutively done to blackness, so where someone like me won't have the ability to go back down memory lane and look at history and to see what has been done, so I can learn from it, so that I don't repeat it in my future, in my present, so that it doesn't happen in my future. White people don't want to be reminded of what their forefathers have done and how they've still benefited from what their forefathers have done. They are literally preventing any form of change from happening, because in order for you to make a change, you have to admit that you need to change. And all critical race theory is doing is literally explaining in a very critical way what has been done through the realm of race. Because again, black people didn't start racism. Whiteness did in this country. So you can't sit up here and feel some type of way about now we're taking a critical lens to what y'all have done, because there's been such a critical lens on the blacks, a critical lens on the gays, but it ain't no critical lens on the Christians, and it ain't no critical lens on whiteness. So again, what makes y'all feel like y'all exempt from being criticized? Oh, because there's privilege there, and because I'm privileged, I don't have to be checked. So again, black men, how do you feel about, for those of you voting for Trump, how do you feel about the elimination of critical race theory in grades K through 12? Let's hear from other black men.
Any discussions around race and racism are now being eliminated, which to me is erasing a core part of our history.
Black history is just not black history, it's actual the history. It's the history, it's not just black history, you know, because you can't go back in history and not find black people.
You're trying to erase the history, but you're not willing to necessarily erase the legislation that holds us down on a day-to-day basis. Got it.
What's up, Deshaun? One on King.
Okay. Cool. That's a wicked game that they're playing.
I feel like they're trying to just disintegrate everything, and I don't appreciate that at all.
No, this is crazy. This is actually crazy. This is worse than the other one.
It's overwhelming. I can't believe someone actually took the time to put together this document that is, it's absurd. It's absurd.
Enforcing the death penalty. We all unfortunately know that in America with blackness, as we have seen, we keep speaking on this because we want this to actually stop. But how there have been black people who have literally had their lives snuffed out by individuals who played jury, judge, and executioner. While it being recorded, we just had Marcellus Williams, if I'm not mistaken, a black man who literally there was DNA evidence to exonerate him from the charge, which produced the reality of him being on death row, and they still unalived him. So again, black men, when you look at individuals that are on death row, and the individual on here is going to speak on it, unfortunately, an overwhelming amount of people who are black. So, black men who vote for Trump, how do you feel about them enforcing the death penalty?
The death penalty has always been highly problematic because a disproportionate number of people who are on death row are black men. This would ensure their instant death.
No, I don't vote for genocide. I don't vote for genocide. I don't vote for black men being executed inappropriately and untimely. I don't vote for any of that, never have.
I don't believe in the death penalty personally. You know, I feel what he say, you know, vengeance is not ours, it's his.
This is the same group that believes that the lives of, you know, would-be children are considered. And then to become like judicial hitmen, right? It's like, it's crazy because you can't use the same God for both of them.
We have a lot of individuals who are obviously doing, you know, time in prison in our jail systems without having gone through the proper channels of being allowed a, you know, proper due process.
What it does really is just let black men know that we're not really, we're not respected. We're still not looked at as human. This is still like an extermination.
I think the only thing that really scares me about this is the conservative administration should do everything possible to obtain the finality for the 44 prisoners currently on death row. That seems to say even if they're innocent, kill them. That's scary.
And then on top of that, since they're in, we just said, I mean, hells, even though they're innocent, kill them. Isn't that what Trump said to the Chicago 5 after they were exonerated? That he still thought they should have still received the death penalty, even though they weren't guilty? I'm gonna have to go hit this mafia funeral after this live, cause there's about to be a lot of fucking funerals. Let Trump ass get in the presidency. Now, no shade, we already know how a lot of black men feel about the abortion thing. Because they just thinking that it's a bunch of damn Sukianas going down to the abortion clinic. I'ma get rid of this, fuck this nigga, girl, fuck this nigga, kill his baby nigga, kill. All that, they think that. But what about the men that come up with the money to have these women get an abortion? What about when these women say, the baby's yours, and they saying, no, it's not. Take this $200, $300, $400, however much it take, and go on down. Let me drive you down there. Let me go ahead and baby boy Jody, my Jody, take your ass down there and get that shit done. But even Reckless Logic shared an experience with someone close to him where they said that they were having a miscarriage. And because they could not get abortion done in their state, they had to drive to a neighboring state to get it done. What if the neighboring state that gets it done are 2 states over? And who's to say that person's going to live long enough to get the fuck over to where they do the abortions at? And it's not just about abortions. Getting rid of Planned Parenthood also means getting rid of contraceptives, condoms, birth control, all these things that are needed to control things, right? To make sure that we don't have a uh-oh moment. We don't contribute to the high growing, fast growing rate of adoption in this country. Parents not being able to take care of their children, and now they're in the foster care system. And we've had individuals who have lived through the foster care system and said how horrible it was. So with all that being said, again, black men who are voting for Trump, how do you feel about them ending the access to abortion?
Liberal states.
And if y'all in the bushes, go ahead and comment. BubzDaGawd always comment when he in the building.
Have now become sanctuaries for abortion tourism. Health and Human Services should use every available tool, including the cutting of funds, to ensure that every state reports exactly how many abortions take place. It seems like they're trying to cover every door to make sure a woman doesn't have the right to choose what happens with her body. And I think it's just crazy.
I feel like they should have their choice of how they want to treat their bodies and do what they want with their bodies, so it shouldn't be up to no government to do that.
This is an important issue that we should all be concerned about because women's rights are being taken away. This takes us to illegal and backroom abortions where women put their lives at risk in ways that we haven't seen for centuries in this country.
They've been through a great deal of suffrage, so this is just another thing to add on to more of that suffrage. And I feel like they should have their choice of how they want to treat their bodies and do what they want with their bodies, so it shouldn't be up to no government to do that. No, I'm not, this is not something I want to vote for at all. I wouldn't vote for it.
I want my daughters to be able to grow up, they're 6 to 12. I want them to be able to grow up and have freedom of rights.
He's already said he wants to do a national abortion ban, so this is just proof positive.
End loan forgiveness. Now you niggas say y'all love money, y'all love that he giving y'all checks and shit, you just love it, love it, love it. But what about for those of you black men who have went to college and have the student loan debt and you trying to pay that bitch off? You're not trying to be 95 years old finally saying, well, I finally paid off my student loan debt. No. So again, for the black men who want the money and the free shit, how do you feel about Project 2025 ending loan forgiveness?
The Secretary should phase out all existing income-driven repayment plans by making new loans, including consolidation loans, ineligible. There should be no loan forgiveness.
This means that your loans will be due soon, and many of them with interest and penalty and fees, so more money out of your pocket. Why is that important? Because black people are twice as likely to have larger student loan debts than people from other races, which means that it only delays the ability to purchase homes and other wealth-building strategies.
No loan forgiveness it's pretty scary. If there's no forgiveness and if all the borrowers should have to repay their loans, some people are not in a position to do that. And I don't think a lot of people can recover from the debt that college is putting on people. So, you know, you be putting kids in a position where it's almost impossible for them to win.
And equal employment opportunity. No shade, there are some black men that are glad that DEI is being destroyed. They don't believe in diversity. They don't believe in inclusion or anything like that. But let's listen further on how this is going to affect even their black asses.
The next administration should work with Congress to amend Title VII to prohibit Equal Employment Opportunity Commission from collecting EEO-1 data and any other social classifications in employment for both private and public workplaces.
What this means is that we will no longer have protections in the workplace that prevent discrimination, racism, or unfair treatment of people of color.
Wow. So even for the black people that are doing what they're supposed to be doing, they can still experience racism, and there will be no way to really speak about it because, again, I didn't call you nigger, I didn't call you boy, I didn't call you colored, I didn't call you anything to be racist. I'm not racist, but there are other things that can be done. If I'm not mistaken, again, the Defiant lawyers, I did a live months ago where I think it was called the Disparity or Disparate something Act. And they use the example of a black woman who is a homeowner who also buys homes and flips them like a bunch of white people do. That she's always been banking with this particular bank for so long, and one day she goes in and she cannot access her money, even though she is the person who is the holder of that account. She has all the proper identification and paperwork necessary to prove that. And they said, oh, sorry, ma'am, we can't give you the money. So she said, again, as a black person, instead of going the fuck off, you know what? Let me wait another day or so and come back. Maybe this person having a bad day. Comes back a few days later and it's the same thing, to where the lady starts demanding, well, why can't I get my money? Well, we're going to call the cops. And the cops come and verify everything and literally say, yeah, this is her account. This is her. Why you're not giving her the money? And they still did not give the police an answer on why they're not giving her money. So that means that they can start being slick with being racist, but then that racism can now increase, because it ain't just gonna stop there. They doing this shit subtly and then boom, in your face. As much as y'all talk about the gay agenda, oh my god, the gay agenda and all these agenda, baby, the gay agenda ain't got shit on Project 2025. Let's continue further.
Oh yeah, we can't have that. We can't have that at all.
Egregious, overwhelming, outrageous, unfair. That's how I describe it.
May I speak candidly? It's basically a handbook for slavery.
I think that we need to vote, get out and spread the word to make sure that this doesn't happen.
I used to think that black men could never be presidents of companies like Xerox and Microsoft, but a black man became the president. This is rolling back all these things that were already established. We should find more ways to be more inclusive, men of color, women of color. I can't imagine an administration that would take us back. I could never support it.
We feel hard for health.
End Obamacare. That means a lot of y'all mamas, daddies, grandmas, uncles, aunties. And on top of that, that don't even just affect blackness. That also affects other groups of people as well who also benefit from Medicaid and Medicare. So let's listen further, shall we? Project 2025.
Policy enacted under the Obama and Biden administration, such as Medicare shared saving programs and the Inflation Reduction Act.
I never thought that we would come to a time like this in America. You know, just sad.
The Inflation Reduction Act basically is a provision that will have an impact on Medicare, which would mean higher prescription costs for seniors and more money for Big Pharma, plain and simple.
I'm in a wheelchair, and I do got Medicare. So they're trying to take Medicare for us? I would be asked out because I don't have no care for my wheelchair.
Honestly, based on this, like honestly, thinking about, again, not even thinking necessarily about myself, but you know, my grandmother, my grandfather specifically, this would directly affect him, which would be insane.
So what it means to me is poor people that have pre-existing conditions are in a world of trouble if Trump gets in office. I mean, for him to say he want to get rid of Obamacare, and when they asked him the question, what's your plan? He said he has a concept. That's the scariest thing ever.
And I'm an asthmatic, you know? Like, I know what it's like to be suffering at night because, you know, you're wheezing and you don't have your inhaler. And, I mean, come on now. Like, it's hard to, I guess, express, like, almost like the anger. I'm shaking a little bit, you know?
Reading this is definitely the most important election ever.
Lower corporate taxes. Again, for you niggas that want the money and all that shit, cause Trump gave y'all $1,200 checks. So y'all ain't gotta go out to Wingstop. Wingstop can come to you.
The corporate income tax rate should be reduced to 18%.
So that means the people that make less money gonna pay higher taxes? No, it don't make me want to vote for Trump.
What this means is less taxes and greater profit for large corporations and fewer wages and less income for everyday workers. We already see a massive gap between what workers take home and what large corporations take home. This will only widen that gap.
So we're not talking about niggas who on their ass, who ain't doing shit, they're just being lazy and on the game all day, don't have no purpose. We're talking about hard-working individuals who want to work, who want to contribute to society, who want to provide for their families. Now guess what? Under the Trump administration, via way of Project 2025, the hard-working person will not even be able to receive the money they deserve. Again, being overworked and underpaid, which is actually happening even before the election results. It's like this today. I have people in my life right now who apply for jobs so much that they've low-key applied at the same place 3 times and didn't even know it because they're trying to get a job. So again, for the black men that love Trump because he give us money, yeah, he give y'all niggas money now. And on top of that, he didn't even want to give the money to you. Quiet that is fucking kept. So y'all would take a temporary $1,200 while also having to pay more taxes out your pocket. And you the one working harder and being overworked and underpaid. Meanwhile, people who ain't gotta roll up they motherfucking sleeves and shit can get paid while they're at lunch or while they're on their private jet or their private yacht. Thanking your nigga ass for making it happen.
So the hard-working people get less, and the people that don't work as much get everything.
If you're middle class or lower, you barely making ends meet, for real. The people with the most money should pay the most money. I mean, that's like common sense, right?
It sounds like they're stopping, or really they're adding more money to their pockets by stopping us from being able to save money.
This is wrong. This is just wrong. It shouldn't be this way.
They don't care about the little people. They just care about just making more money, whatever that looks like.
Before you vote, make sure you understand one of the most divisive documents in American history.
I would say take your time to read what they're pushing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's really cool to watch a debate and hear a cute little tagline from time to time. But when you see what the agenda is really about, you know what I'm saying, you're probably gonna think twice.
It's not good for the black man at all. Basically any man of color, it's not. And I would tell them to educate themselves on Project 2025.
At this point, I don't even know if there's a message I could give to them, right? Like, it's blatant, it's obvious. What I usually tell them is you're selling yourself back into slavery for a few dollars. Because most black men, when they talk about they're gonna vote for Trump, always talk about dollars.
Make sure you know the right from the wrong.
Everybody just thinking that Trump was a good president from EDD, PPP, that Trump was gonna look out for the blacks.
I mean, look, I don't think Trump really honestly cares about anybody back there anyway.
They have a playbook for your future.
I plan to vote this next presidential election. Absolutely. People die for the actual right to vote. So if you have a chance to vote, you should.
This is my second time voting, and since I've been free. And to me and anybody around me that know what I went through, fighting to get home, and know what's going on, like, we have to vote. We just have to vote.
When I grew up, my grandfather was from the South, and it was very hard for them to vote. So no matter what, vote. We have to vote. It's important. I don't care if you got to stand in line 5-6 hours. Vote.
And at this point, it's really not even about politics. It's about character. Like, the dude is just a horrible person, right? And that's what it boils down to for me. It's beyond politics at this point.
So many elections before, black men, women didn't vote very much. We have to vote at this election. It's going to be a game changer for all of us. I use the term, I have to stop this insanity. Not only am I going to vote, but I'm going to encourage all my friends to do so.
That's it, y'all, for part 2. We got 2 more parts. Okay, and for the individuals who care about Trump and he doing stuff for the black community or whatever, well, how is the platinum plan going? Has that been helping black men? I haven't heard any black men on these platforms talk about, oh my God, black people, y'all forgetting that Trump, he enacted the platinum plan. He made sure to put the platinum plan into action. Where's the platinum plan today? Again, he was president, so again, did he do anything with the platinum plan? And if he did, let me know. But speaking on lies, the next video we're going to listen to is an expose, okay? Exposing all of Trump's anti-blackness. Okay, this video is like 30 minutes long, so again, I still got to finish up some food because I'm still eating dinner and stuff, but I'll pause every once in a while, but I want y'all to listen. Because again, here on BubzDaGawd, we bring facts. We don't sit and watch a video for 5 minutes and feel like we got the whole premise. We watch the entire thing so that when we do get on YouTube on public platforms, we know what the hell and what the fuck we're talking about. But again, some niggas are shookin' and jiving and only care about the views and the numbers as opposed to actual genuine community. Look at y'all comments real quick before we get into the next 2 parts. Harold said, meaning your children will no longer be afforded the opportunity to have any education, thus keeping them dumb. They will then have to be homeschooled. And if your children are dumb, they're going to make dumb decisions, which is going to end up landing their dumb asses into prison. And all those prisons, the majority of them, not all, but the majority of them are privately owned any damn way. Deshaun says, oh, now they're opening that book and now finding out what's going on inside there, huh? Project 2025. These black men. Deshaun also says, now they're finding out all the information that's in that book that's going to be passed because you're overdoing these laws and it's ridiculous. Abolishing a lot of things like Medicare. Who you are, abortions, not even abortion. They even allow you to have a dead fetus inside you to let you die on the table because it's supposed to clean itself. A black woman died on the freaking table because it was illegal to take out the fetus because of what the other I'm just reading how it's put down here, y'all. Because of what the other black woman, it never happened to me. I didn't die. Well, guess what? The woman died. The other woman. I just love how people, no matter what sexuality or what they've been through, they put their story on other people's story. That black woman died on the table because of an infection because they didn't remove the fetus. Wow. All right, y'all, let's take a listen to exposing Trump's anti-blackness.
He thinks we're lazy. He thinks that we're on welfare. He thinks that we take the most menial jobs. He thinks that we are stupid. And he thinks that we live in squalor. Things I shared on this video are not coming from filtered through a mainstream media. These are on the record statements through people who had to swear testimony to this. This is actual. This is not fake news. As promised, here's my video exposing the various different racist and anti-Black things that Donald Trump has done, beginning from the 1970s up as recently as last week. It's a follow-up to a video I did just using a sound where someone was talking to a fellow or a family member or friend saying that for the rest of their lives they have to deal with the fact that they voted for someone who was endorsed by the KKK. All right, so let's get going. Okay, let's start with the rebuttals, replies to a lot of the comments that I've been getting in that last video. And the most common one people have said is that, well, the Democrats started the KKK. So here's the thing, that's irrelevant. And then in legal terms, there's this word that's called moot that has no bearing whatsoever to do with the fact that in 2016, the version of the KKK that chose to endorse Donald Trump, who said this is the guy that speaks to our ideals, this is the guy that wants to preserve whiteness and wants to suppress and oppress Blackness and other non-whiteness, and who is going to advance the cause of the white man in 2016, that's our guy. So why did they choose that? Because he was saying and doing things and he embodied everything that the KKK represents. So it doesn't matter historically who started it. That's not an issue. United States was a slave-owning country, but today it's a different country, so it doesn't matter. Okay, I'll give them that, whatever they call themselves, sure. Does that take away the fact?
And let's go with the whole thing. Oh, the Democrats started KKK. Were they Black? The underlying cause, the underlying theme, the main common denominator in this whole situation is that whether it was Democrat or Republican, the people who were Klansmen were white. Point blank, period. Unless Clayton Bixby's were in there, unless Uncle Ruckus's were in there, and if so, please show me a picture of Black Klansmen, please.
That he still said or did things that embodied the whole of the KKK, what they stand for historically as an entity that lynched and did a lot of anti-Black, anti-Jew, anti-people of color activities violently over the course, and who continue to represent the most vile, pro-white, anti-anyone who's not white rhetoric and language and activities. That's the important thing. Y'all try to take people off the focus and well, it was started about who cares. So, and I'm not talking about political party, I'm talking about Donald Trump. So that's the first rebuttal. The second one, people say that he disavowed them. So next, that doesn't mean the fact they still thought that he was the type of person that is represent the interests of the white man. They said in their statement that he is going to move the ball forward. He's doing really great with the white nationalism. That's why we're endorsing him. So it doesn't matter they disavowed it. The main point is they chose him. He can disavow all they want. They chose him because he's about white nationalist ideals. The third, a lot of people bring up Joe Biden, stuff Joe Biden said. Well, you can compare Joe Biden. A few things about that. One, Joe Biden is not running. This is a choice between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. So y'all are just like Trump, who's really mad that Joe Biden is not the candidate. Even if Joe Biden had 3 or 4 bad incidences of racism, you can't, that's a false equivalency. That does not compare to 52 years of some of the stuff, and you're gonna see in this video that he's done, does not compare to the few comments that Joe Biden has said. Now, the last and fourth one, a few people have brought up the fact that, well, Kamala Harris has a history, a long time ago, her great-great-great-grandfather and her father owned slaves. A few things about that. What Black person in Western world doesn't have a slave-owning ancestor who raped their great-great-great-grandmother?
Hello.
That's not equivalent. That's a false equivalency. Hello. Having a bad ancestor is different than having 52 plus years of saying racist stuff and actually saying racist stuff like yesterday, like last week. You have someone who is racist today, yesterday, last week for 52 years, and someone who has an ancestor from year back there. Those false equivalency. They're not the same thing. No matter how much you try to bring that up, that's not the same thing. There's been other things. I'm gonna just let the rest of those fly because these are the 4 that's been consistent. And again, none of them compare to Donald Trump. We're talking about today, Donald Trump's activities. First one is during a rally in August this year at Tulsa. He pointed out Representative Byron Donalds. Hear him say it for himself. Listen to him say it for himself. Don't take my word for it. Listen to Donald say it.
The future. Byron Donalds, Florida.
Wow, that's nice to have you here. That's good. He's great. He's great. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. That one is smart. You have smart ones and you have some that aren't quite.
That's racist. You know why you know it's racist? Because try that at your job. Go to your office, go to the coworker, go to the family at your child's event and go say, Margaret, you're one of the smart ones. Some of y'all are not so smart. Y'all know that's. Now let's talk about how Donald Trump refused to rent to blacks because he thinks black people are on welfare, because he doesn't value us. Now here's the thing, 1973, October, the New York Times had a big front page newspaper. They said landlord was fined for anti-black bias. There you go, MAGA, anti-black bias. So who was the president of the organization? Trump. Donald Trump was the president. He was fined because they routinely were rejecting black tenants. They said at some point, one of the things was that out of 3,000 units, only 7 were occupied by blacks. And the black people that did get in those units, they had to like take someone else's and they had to like steamroll their way in. So Donald Trump, unlike the other landlords that got caught and busted for anti-black racism and housing back then, he chose to fight it. And he said that in the end, they're just trying to make me accept welfare people. And let me tell you why he thinks that we're all on welfare in a second at the end of this segment. So after the government they eventually settled and had a sort of consent decree. Part of the consent decree was a plan for Donald Doris and the Trump organization to essentially integrate. Now, what did they do? They did let some black people in, but you know what they did? They put them in the worst units, and then a lot of the black tenants complained there were slums. They put them in place with like deplorable conditions. So even though you're a black person, you finally got in because the government made them, they still gave you the worst units and the worst conditions because that's what they think about black. When you talk about Black Lives Matter, that's what we're talking about. So you black MAGA, this is what I'm talking about when we say Donald Trump has a history, and that was from 1973. So yeah. And
if y'all gonna talk about Kamala's history, again, Trump, it's equality across the board, and let's see who really's doing it. The fact that some of these niggas are voting for a convicted felon is so funny to me, girl. Like,
when I mentioned, he said that the government's trying to force me to do welfare. Where did that come from? That is a consistent through-line thread. In 2017, while Donald Trump was president, he met with the Congressional Black Caucus. And one of the Congressional Black Caucus members told him, like, yeah, we need to do welfare reform. Because as you know, my constituents need it. And not all of them are black who are on welfare. Donald Trump said during that meeting, they're not. And so he thinks, in his big age, and he thought the majority people, the only people on welfare were blacks. So go back to 1973 when he says that they're trying to make me rent to welfare people. During that meeting, he consistently thought that the only people on welfare were black people. That's not racist? All right, let's keep going. All right, it continues. So Trump Plaza Hotel had a vice president, eventually a president named Jack O'Donnell. In 1987, they hired him. So this was the president. He hung around Donald Trump a lot of time, the president of Trump Plaza. And he wrote a book eventually after he left in 1990. And in his book, he says a few things that are really, really shocking. He even did an interview. I'm going to play the clip from the interview he did with CNN.
The top financial officer in the organization. And he complained to me that he didn't really like having a black guy counting his money. He went on to say, what I want counting my money is short guys with yarmulkes on their head.
Was this out of the ordinary for him to say it?
Well, no, he had complained several times that he wasn't happy with this particular employee, but it was really the first time that he really honed in on the fact that he didn't like him simply because he was black. Because he went on to say in this conversation that that he perceived this as being lazy. And then he said, but that's probably not his fault because laziness is a trait in blacks. So he made it very clear that this was a black issue, and I do believe he's a racist. And further to the point, Anderson, I believe anybody that has spent substantial amount of time around him in a casual atmosphere, whether it's business or at dinner or at lunch, I believe it would be very difficult that he wouldn't express these feelings to them over time. I just find it very hard to believe that there aren't more people who know him that don't believe exactly what I believe, but for one reason or another, are not willing to say it publicly, that he is a racist.
An important footnote, when the book first came out, O'Donnell says Citizen Trump called him a, quote, disgruntled employee. Then in a 1997 interview, he said O'Donnell's recollections were, quote, probably true.
They go black MAGA. There's anti-black. He thinks laziness is inherent in you as a black person. A Playboy interview, later on, he said, you know what, a lot of the things in Jack O'Donnell's book were probably true. So it's probably true that he did say that black people are inherently lazy. Put a pin in this because later on in this video, I'm going to talk about Randall Pickett, the first black The Apprentice winner, who eventually said that Donald Trump called him lazy. So you see there's a consistency. He was saying laziness is an inherent quality in black people back in the 80s, and then fast forward to 2000, whenever it was when Randall was the Apprentice winner, he said Donald Trump called him lazy. So it's consistent that he thinks black people are lazy. Jack O'Donnell noticed when Donald Trump would see that there were too many black people gambling, he would use a code word to say it's looking a little dark in here, which meant, limit the charter bus programs into urban neighborhoods. So he said he didn't stop. He just looked at it as like, yeah, let's keep going. So he also famously, they didn't want to see black people. Not only he didn't want to count his money, he didn't want to see them. So in the 1980s, actually, Trump casinos was fined like a lot of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars from the government for doing this thing by removing black workers from the stables in order to appease racist customers. And this is a New Yorker article that had to do with the downfall of Atlantic City. It wasn't specifically just about Trump. Kip Brown told Nick Palmergarden that, specifically, I quote, when Donald and Ivana came to the casino, the bosses would order all the black people off the floor. It was the 80s. I was a teenager, but I remember that. They put us on the back because Donald Trump didn't want to see black people operating his tables. Just like he didn't want them to count his money, he didn't want to see them. So he got fined. There was this lawsuit, they were fined. Anti-black, racist. And again, like I said, this is a consistency.
Consistency.
This is a consistent activity. So someone who acts like this, who have all these incidences, why would you believe he's not racist? I mean, this is like, I'm only in the 80s. I haven't even gone to the 90s yet. Okay, now before I get to some of the things that his own attorney said in the book that he wrote about Donald Trump's racist statements that are some of the most egregious, some of the most hateful things about us. Like, not those other things weren't that bad. But I want you to remember what Jack O'Donnell said about if you hang out with him a lot in a casual setting, he's gonna say racist stuff because that's who he is, right? Right? Remember that. So when I say the stuff that Michael Cohen wrote in his book about stuff that he heard from Donald Trump, you're more likely to believe it because, again, there is a consistency of people saying, this is this man. He's consistently
People
racist.
close to him.
Michael Cohen said in his book, 3 instances stand out. One of them, he said, while they were driving around some area and they were talking about the race, it was during 2020, I think it was around the time, he mentioned about, the importance of all the different voter blocks. Donald Trump said, I can't get black voters because they're too stupid to vote for me. Black people are too stupid. So,
and let's not forget, didn't Donald Trump say that if I were to run for president, the people that I want to run for is the Republicans because they're stupid?
we're lazy, we're the ones on welfare, and we're too stupid. That's a consistent negative stereotype about black people. He holds black people in the lowest regard. If it wasn't evident by the fact when he went to the National Association of Black Journalists, he said that the migrants from the South who are poor, who come in and taking these menial jobs, they're taking black jobs. So not only does he think we're lazy, stupid, and on welfare, he also thinks that we hold the jobs that require the least amount of knowledge and awareness because he doesn't think we're smart. In Jack O'Donnell's book, he also said that Donald Trump has these beliefs, these stereotypes. He thinks that white people don't want to live with black people. He thinks that black people are inherently inferior to whites. This is Jack O'Donnell. Donald Trump said he's a good guy. He gave him high ratings. So this is coming from somebody, not somebody he fired. Jack O'Donnell left on his own. In 1999, Donald Trump told Playboy magazine, "The stuff O'Donnell wrote about me is probably true." That's a quote from Donald Trump. So he gave Jack O'Donnell credibility. So Jack O'Donnell's the one that's saying that he thinks this way about blacks and he thinks this way about them being inferior.
Disaster. Disrespectful. Horrible. Low IQ. Stupid. You people. Nasty. This monster.
So yeah, this is consistent, y'all. It's consistent across everything. It's not like, I don't know why people are trying to like gaslight us and say it's not. Consistently say these things. It walks like a duck. It quacks like a duck. It's a duck. It's not a chicken. It's a duck. He's racist. Also, infamously, remember the princess? How did we get him in the first place? Celebrity worship, the fact that people thought he was a great businessman, even though he's bankrupt 7 casinos and hotels and doesn't have as much money as he said he has, and essentially is just not necessarily the best businessman. But anyway, I digress. How do we get this way? Here, the princess. So Michael Cohen also said in his book, during a sit down with Vanity Fair, he was like, I can't let a black win. I can't let that black win. He didn't want a black person to win. And we all know that infamously, he tried to get the black winner to share his win with the second place white person, where the first season was a white winner, and he didn't make him share. When there was a black guy winning, Donald Trump asked, should he share the winnings with the second place white woman, because he didn't want a black to win. We saw that happen in front. We saw him ask Randall to like share his prize, and Randall said no. So it's consistent. Another interesting revelation from the Michael Cohen book was that he said at one point while riding with Trump in Chicago and passing through like the slums, he looked around and said, only the blacks could live like this. Because, again, he thinks we're lazy. He thinks that we're on welfare. He thinks that we take the most menial jobs. He thinks that we are stupid. And he thinks that we live in squalor because only the blacks could live like this. Don't take away the fact that in many pockets of the United States and trailer parks around the world, you have people living in deplorable, really bad, sad conditions in West Virginia.
Even
where
some Native Americans on
Vice President's from JayJay Vance. I'm sure JayJay Vance can take you to areas that are really not the best. So it's not only the blacks who can live in poor conditions. But anyway, that's a racist thing to say. We all know that. There's no doubt. Nobody can debate me. They can say that. Now, again, like I say, you can debate whether or not Michael Cohen, who was his ex-lawyer, was telling the truth or not. The fact of the matter remains, like I said before, the through line. He's been saying these things about black people, acting this way, hiding black people, not wanting to count his money, being racist, and just showing his disdain and dislike, calling the origins of black people vile, calling, the people, nations that have lots of black people assholes. But it's more than that. Let's get into a little bit of that, a little bit of xenophobia to wrap. So immigration and migration to the United States is a way of life. Everyone in the United States, other than Native Americans, came here through a port of entry, perhaps through the border, and whether or not through temporary basis as temporary protective status, like the migrants in Springfield, Ohio, or the asylum seekers from Cuba, or whether you snuck in through the border, or whether you came in as a visa from Ellis Island, or you overstayed a visa after coming to visit. Everyone comes here to the United States voluntarily, unless you came in on a boat as part of the enslaved captive people from, pre that portion of the United States history. Everyone. However, Donald Trump has shown time and time again that he has an intolerance for non-white immigrants. During his administration, he infamously slowed down the H-1B visas because that was a way for you Indian and Asian American Indians and Nigerians who came in for tax, and he didn't want that because he noticed that there are a lot of people coming in who are not from white countries. Donald Trump, as I said, infamously asked, why are there so many immigrants from these vile African countries, from these S-hole countries? He didn't want them. He infamously, during a meeting, and there's lots of people witnesses, said, why can't we get more immigrations from nice countries? And by nice, he meant predominantly white, like Norway or Sweden. So that's a sign that Donald Trump does not value, especially you MAGA, who are Indian MAGA, Asian MAGA, immigrant MAGA from any places other than a European white country. He does not want you here. He does not like you people. He asked during his administration, why are y'all here? Like, why we have so much of you? That's not racist? Go ahead and be MAGA. Y'all think y'all wannabes. You're not wanted either. And interestingly enough, Donald Trump himself is an immigrant. He is a product of Scottish immigrant on his mother's side and German immigrant on his father's side. His wives, all three of them, immigrated from Eastern European countries. All his children have immigrants. So what's the deal? And he doesn't have problems with immigration. He just has problems with immigrants from non-white countries. An example, just like last week, he's reeling about where they are coming from, this xenophobia.
Coming from the Congo, they're coming from Africa, they're coming from the Middle East, they're coming from all over the world, Asia, a lot of it coming from Asia. And what's happening to our country is we're just destroying the fabric of life in our country. And you got to get rid of these people.
Notice he doesn't talk about Europe, but did you know that Donald Trump's own properties was the source for a lot of European, Russian birth tourism? Like a lot of times Republicans talk about chain migration. Chain migration is a process where you may have a baby in the United States, and because of our laws, once you're born on this soil, you're automatically a citizen. So then those children can eventually file for their parents, who can file for their siblings, who can file, and that's how a lot of people come to the United States. They have an anchor here, that's the term anchor baby, and they bring them in. It's like wealthy people from Russia, but he has no problem with that. Actually, he did say something against that, but for the most part, when you hear him railing against immigration or migration, he doesn't talk about that's for the immigration. Why? He can't say anything bad about the white people. And that's why, again, KKK endorsed him, because he promotes whiteness and white nationalism. Notice that. And I mentioned chain migration. When you bring in a baby, files for their mother. Guess who else infamously filed for her parents to come here? Melania Trump. So her parents are a beneficiary of chain migration. Melania, ladies and gentlemen. It's okay, though, when they do it. In fact, the 2016, the KKK endorsed him because he, like them, want to see most for the white race, because they are the better race according to him. According to his actions, according to his positions, doesn't that, it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. It's not a chicken. His history of anti-black, Jack O'Donnell saying that he's racist, the Senator Durbin saying, yeah, he said this, the stuff he said about the vile Africans, calling African nations vile. Senator Dick Durbin confirmed that he did say that. They also said in that article that they mentioned that the Donald Trump, his staffers had to tell him he can't say that, he shouldn't. So there are a lot of people who knows about his anti-blackness. And again, it's a history of 51 years, lots of different statements. It does not compare to a few statements that Joe Biden might have said. This is a pattern, a history that's long, cannot ever be compared to Joe Biden. So don't ever come my thing like with Joe Biden, because that doesn't even compare. That's called false equivalency. It doesn't match. Don't come with that. So again, all right, so just to wrap this up, the history of Donald Trump in this 20-plus minute video shows that the pattern, those who know him most, those who associate with him, he said these things in meetings, he said this thing at the rallies, he says these things, to his close confidants, the people who used to work for him, who said, okay, yeah, we're gonna come out now. He doesn't have the cover he had before. Folks are seeing him like it is and coming forward and saying, yeah, he said all these things. Some folks are giving him more cover, but consistently, his actions, too stupid to vote for me, saying that they are lazy. Laziness is the characteristic of blackness. To vote, I don't a black person to count my money. There's only some smart ones. All of those things he said out of his own mouth. People have substantiated. The things I shared on this video are not coming from filtered through a mainstream media. These are on the record statements through people who had to swear testimony. This is actual. This is not fake news. This is actual Dr. Trump saying this. When he says there's some smart ones, he said that. When he says they're coming from all these non-white countries, that's him saying that. So I don't understand how people hear and see him saying these things, but still for some reason be like, oh no, he's not racist. And then you, if you're a white person, please do not white-splain racism to us. We know when someone's talking about us ill. And don't ask us when someone's referring to us and say that we're ignorant and we're smart, or says that we're on the lowest totem pole. When he goes to the National Association of Black Journalists and say that the migrants from the border are taking your jobs, that means he only sees us in stereotypical ways, as lazy, as welfare recipients, as not smart, as on the bottom of the socioeconomic polls. The fact that he would think that black people and the low-wage migrant jobs are equal. That's our jobs that's being taken. That we're not lawyers like myself. We're not doing anything above. That's where we are. That's how he sees us on that level. Jack O'Donnell said that he sees black people as inferior, and that's just how he is. He says he's a racist. Donald Trump addresses black foes in terms of their intelligence. He calls them low IQ, dumb, stupid, not smart, ask a stupid question. And in terms of Barack Obama, questions how they got into Harvard. When he addresses foes that are not black and not women, he does not question their intelligence. Again, one of the reasons why the KKK endorsed Donald Trump is because he uses the language of white nationalists and white supremacists, which says that black people have low IQ. and he does this consistently. I'm not the only one who said this.
Of the fights he's picking, I think it's reminiscent of what we saw following Charlottesville. The president is using a common talking point from white supremacist communities that black people have less intelligence than white people. So he attacked Don Lemon's intelligence. He attacked LeBron James. You remember he calls Maxine Waters low IQ. He uses stupid and ignorant very often when attacking his black critics, and opposed to actually entertaining their argument in a way that I think it's what made people think that he was giving life to and encouraging white supremacist communities after Charlottesville. And so that felt very familiar to a lot of people, and I think we saw that reaction on social media.
Yes, he's a racist. And everyone who knows him, who hangs around with him casually, knows he's a racist. They can deny it if they want. The stuff I said today, all the receipts. So someone might try to nitpick, but you know, over the course of 51 years, if anyone has done all these various different things, you would say, yeah, he's Archie Bunker racist.
And then on top of that, if a lot of black people sitting here talking about, oh, well, Kamala, she used to be she's a prosecutor. She used to put black people in jail. She's supposed to do all this stuff. And black YouTubers already went over the truth about Kamala's records. But let's just, for the sake of argument, say that everything that's being said about Kamala is true. Compare her history to Trump's history and see who really is the one that is the most destructive to blackness. But again, unfortunately, in a lot of our black communities, y'all will believe hypotheticals the same way y'all believe hypotheticals about the queer community. That we're all doing this and that we're in the bathrooms and that we're stalking, that we're doing all these things, hypotheticals, and then deny queer people's existence and experiences, the actual truth and fact. It's the exact same thing looking with the whole Kamala and Trump situation. Y'all want to vote for Trump off of hypotheticals from Kamala, as opposed to dealing with the objective true facts that we have experienced during Trump's first term. Y'all gotta make that make sense. See how she looking at y'all on the camera, goddamn. You see how she looking at y'all? Let me blow her face up. That's how I'm looking at y'all.
You know, it's not brain science. So if you don't believe it after seeing all this stuff and you want to nitpick all this stuff, that's on you. That's when you are consciously, willingly choosing to ignore. So I hope this is helpful for you. What I want you to do is keep this video, save it, take notes, share it, take note of it. So when you're talking to people up until November 5th, take note when you have to go to Thanksgiving dinner and Kamala wins, please God, and you have to explain stuff away and say, you know what, you voted for somebody who did all these things. And so it's okay, it's over now. You don't have to worry about him anymore because that's the last time he's gonna run. Yeah, share this, save this video. I hope this is helpful for you. I did my job. I figure like a lot of people, a lot of the stuff I said is on the record. It's not new. It's existed there before. A lot of it existed for 2016. There were reports on these things, but people chose to look the other way. So I'm hoping that folks don't do that this time. And you saw the stuff, the record. Black MAGA. If you're a black person, you still voted for him, you just don't like yourself. That's all I gotta say. Because it's like someone said they hate you, you're like, okay, I'm gonna vote for you for president. And in this video, I want to share one more anecdote. While I was editing this video, I got a DM from someone who tells me that don't do it, you know, and I'm like, what are you talking about? He sends me this link to a YouTube video or some video where a black woman is saying how Donald Trump, based on her personal experiences and what she's seen and witnessed with him helping out black people, and he's been supportive of her, that means he's not racist. And I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? And he says, well, I'm from New York and I know Donald Trump personally. He's not racist. And I'm like, oh my God, I met them. The people, when racist people say, I have some black friends, like some of my closest friends are black, the guy is him. Like, you know, he's the person who a racist turns to and asks for validation after they do something racist, or they say something racist, or they behave racist.
Or again, you're one of the good ones.
Racist ways. They try to deflect or say, gaslight people, say, it's not me because I have black friends. The black friend DM me. And I'm like, it's so funny because it's the same.
I have gay friends. I have gay people in my family. Meanwhile, y'all won't bring those gay people on your platforms because you know that if you do, they're going to call you out on your bullshit. Only time y'all really talk to y'all gay cousins and gay family members is when y'all see them at reunions and funerals and shit.
Mentality when people who go and vote for Donald Trump and say, well, I have good black friends and they're cool with you and I'm cool with you and I see you doing well and I'm a good person to you personally. So because I'm a good person to you personally, it's okay that I vote for somebody that has policies that's going to impact other people that look like you negatively. And that's what it is. It's like Donald Trump's black friend DM me. And he also tried to dismiss me. He says that I'm country and he says, oh, you're from country, you're an outsider. New Yorkers know Donald Trump. We know him. It's like, yeah, and a lot of New Yorkers like you who know him know that he's dangerous. They don't want him running the country. And I'm thinking there's Pinto, there's a character from Spike Lee's movie from the, I think it was 80s or 90s called Do the Right Thing. And in that movie, it's like a Spike Lee joint. It's like a city block in Brooklyn. It's like where he grew up, where different people from different cultures all get together, but they all harbor really racist, hateful views towards each other based on their race. They're all individually have biases for themselves against the other people. And there's one character, he says the N-word all the time. He's like a rabid racist, you know what I mean? But eventually that's kind of like Spike Lee's boys still. They still cool peoples even though, and they coexist even though the guy is racist. And like, I don't want the guy who's racist to you, who you cool with personally, but who otherwise hold these horrible, horrible, deplorable opinions of black people generally to be running the country because he's warped, he's messed up. So y'all, your community, your Donald Trump that you know, that you have experience with is cool with you, but he's not cool to run the country. And he showed when he ran the country, he ran it and all the stuff he's saying. He is right now talking about bad genes. That's eugenics. That's some Nazi stuff. His own vice president said, you know, he's America's Hitler. He's getting at that point. He's so desperate. Now he's talking about genes. That's eugenics. That's what that's what Hitler used to justify him exterminating a lot of Jews. Donald Trump has gotten to that point now, right? Close. He's feeling desperate. He's leaning in on the people, the basement dwellers who are the most vile, the most racist, the most white. Now she's digging into that. Do y'all not see that? He's digging into his white nationalism. And here you go, like trying to give him an out. Like, oh, you know, don't do this because he's my friend. I'm his black friend. I'm just like, whatever. Anyway, so you see me wearing my Harris Kamala 47 shirt. Let's do this, people. Again, like I said, share this video with other people that you know.
We thank Sister Soldier Girl here for breaking down Trump's anti-blackness and again the history of it. If Trump is this person who has such a change of heart and he cares about humanity now, then he would have done that during his first presidency. And I remember when Trump was named the president at that time, I was going to Wayne State taking a few classes, and I remember like they literally had to have an emergency meeting because all types of people started to feel unsafe. Do y'all not remember the videos that would go around, especially like the children in schools that were yelling, build that, and chanting, build the wall, build the wall. Latino students feeling some type of way. Racism was on the rise. Queerphobia was on the rise. I remember doing the videos and the lives for it. Okay, girl, Tales from the Hood for real. This is the last video, y'all. This is again coming from our unc over on the Defiant Lawyers, who is speaking on black misinformation, or how he says it, black disinformation. After this video, I'm gonna get to y'all comments and then we gonna be out.
I've been a little busy, Georgia. Been around doing a lot of different media interviews, dealing with the press, dealing with the left. Well, that's okay, you know, we really can't boo them too much because it's not really a fair fight. You know, I'm out there and we're doing battle, and then we make them look bad every single time when we educate them. You know, when we educate them and we bring the facts about why people want Donald Trump back. When we explain to them that the economy was better under Donald Trump. When we say that Americans could actually afford and buy homes under Donald Trump. When bacon was actually a decent price and you can go buy 2 packs instead of just 1, that was under Donald Trump.
What he doesn't tell you is that when he uses the word educate, what he should be saying is disinform. And when he brags about the economy under Trump, what he should be telling you is Trump inherited that economy. And what he tells you about the price of bacon and eggs under Trump, what he should be telling you is the reason the price of bacon and eggs went up is because Trump messed up a very good economy that Obama gave him. So what he's actually doing is disseminating disinformation. And that is exactly what I want to talk about in this video. Disinformation. Disseminating disinformation. And no one does it better than Byron Donalds. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to walk you through exactly how the GOP has used disinformation to mislead many African-American men especially. I'm going to show you exactly how that happens. So stay with me until the end. This is undoubtedly one of the most important videos I have made for our YouTube channel. You got to understand the information that I'm going to disseminate in this video. All right? Now, before we get started, as always, go over to Amazon.com, grab a copy of my book, Education and Justice, if you have an African-American son in public school. You need this book to understand the many ways that the public school system mistreat African-American male students.
Y'all definitely got to get that damn book, because if Trump ass become president and Project 2025 is enacted, yeah, remember the Department of Education being literally shut the fuck down, dismantled? Yeah, you might want to go ahead and get yourself a copy of the book. Probably be wise.
And what you can do about it for your son. All right? So go get your copy. Now, what is disinformation?
What is it, Unc?
Disinformation refers to false or misleading information that is deliberately crafted and distributed with the intent to deceive, distort reality, or manipulate the thoughts, beliefs, and actions of the intended audience. It is a strategic tool used to create confusion or influence decisions in favor of those spreading it. So, once again, why would African-American men support Donald Trump, who is not only a white supremacist, he's a blatant white supremacist, meaning he doesn't hide it. He every day is saying something disrespectful to black men or about black men. In fact, I heard him say this morning, and black women, obviously. I heard him say on a video this morning, he said that he didn't like playing football. He played the tight end position in football when he was younger. He said he didn't like it, though, because he didn't like getting hit by these guys who lifted weights every day from the bad neighborhoods. We know who he's talking about. He didn't like getting hit by black dudes. So he doesn't hide his racism, his white supremacy. He doesn't hide it at all. And yet black people, black men especially, yay, he speaks his mind. He speaks his mind. Those are people who have been severely infected by disinformation. Now, disinformation occurs
the first stage
in 6 stages.
Okay.
The first stage is dismissiveness. Dismissiveness. Now, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the people who are most vulnerable to disinformation oftentimes dismiss the facts, dismiss education, dismiss reading books, dismiss all of that insight, dismiss the elders, right? Dismiss the people who know and have the knowledge and the wisdom who can educate them on things. Just like, for example, we saw with Obama. Obama came out and said, I know you guys are not going to vote for the man who has a history of denigrating you. And what did they do? They dismissed Obama rather rudely.
Called him a simp.
You're talking down to us.
Simping
Who
for
are you?
Harris.
Who you think you are? We're men. We got our own minds. I mean, all of that stuff, and what Obama was trying to do was give them some wisdom and help them understand that you're not looking at this right. But what did they do to him? They dismissed him. And that's what makes them very vulnerable to disinformation. Very vulnerable. If you dismiss knowledge, the scripture says, God says, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge.
Come on, you
Christians. You dismiss knowledge, you're opening yourself up to be disinformed.
Hello.
Thus manipulated and misled.
Hello.
You can't separate yourself, young men, from our history. Our history teaches us. Our history teaches us why we're where we are and what to do to get to the next level. So if you dismiss history, or if you eat up revisionist history, the history of the white supremacists, you're going to be very, very prone to disinformation. So first, there is this dismissiveness that opened these men up to disinformation. And then the next level is denialism. And that is, they've been dismissing knowledge. So what comes next? They're going to start denying the facts.
Right.
I mean, you could lay the facts out. Here are the facts. Look at it. These are the facts.
The hypotheticals
and they're denied.
are more important.
Oh, get out of here.
They have more
You don't know
weight
what you're talking
than the
about.
facts.
You're just
We've seen it a
a
lot.
Democratic shield. You are a Democratic operative. And you're laying out facts. But they have been dismissive of the facts. They're now in denial of the facts. And they don't want to hear it.
That part.
You see, this is how and why disinformation is so effective. It doesn't just start being effective. It targets certain people. It targets people who have been dismissive of knowledge and education, which then causes them to be denialist. All right? And next,
the third,
the only other place to go is deception.
Deception.
If they've been dismissive and are now denialist, the only other place to go is deception.
Correct.
So now they are prone to be deceived.
Or it's how Andrew Caldwell
And they're
said.
basically in a position now where white supremacists, black conservatives, and these pro-black imposters can tell them anything. And they'll eat it up because the deception has set in. Okay, the deception has now set in. Their minds now have been darkened and manipulated to the facts, to the truth. It's just like some of you may remember Jim Jones. A whole lot of the people who died with Jim Jones were black people.
Yeah, Kool-Aid.
Black people, a lot of them. It's like 1,000 people who drunk the Kool-Aid.
Niggas love Kool-Aid.
And quite literally, Jim Jones convinced these people to drink Kool-Aid with poison in it. Why? Because of the three things we talked about so far.
Correct.
They were dismissive.
Correct.
Okay? They were very dismissive. They were in denial. And then deception set in.
They were deceived.
You see, this MAGA thing, this thing is a cult. This is a cult. Trump has created a cult. A whole lot of white people are persuaded and manipulated by this cult. But at least they're doing it to preserve white supremacy. Black people, black men are doing it and will get nothing from it.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Except the awareness and responsibility that you have single-handedly participated in the destruction of the black community. It's enough that blackness be struggling internally with itself because of gang violence that continues to happen, because of poverty that continues to happen, because of the fear from the neighbors or those living in those neighborhoods and communities in which they cannot stand up for themselves, because if they do, now they're going to get shot. They're going to have a target on their back. So not only that, but now you are willing to side again with somebody who, as we saw earlier, historically over 51 years, consistently and consecutively say that he does not like black people, or he has a certain type of ideology and perception about black people. Y'all going to side with him again, another individual, or individual, shall I say, who was endorsed by the Klan, endorsed by Proud Boys, endorsed by those who believe in white superiority, white supremacy, white Christian nationalism. As if though your ass is going to be exempt. Whether you was a field nigga or a house nigga, you still a nigga. So I don't know if these niggas voting for Trump because they feel like, well, we'll be exempt, or we're willing to be the nigga overseers when you're not around. Because again, I have not met or saw one video from a black person who believes in Trump to objectively lay out what he has done for the black community. And he already ran and had one term of presidency.
All right, what's next? Number 4. Now, the disinformation comes. The half-truths, the lies. Because keep in mind, this person has been dismissive, right? This person has not only been dismissive, but this person has been
I'm gonna get to your comments after the video.
Denialism. This person has also been now deceived. And so now they are prey to the what? The disinformation. All right, so that's the 4th step. The next step is delusion. That's a deeper level.
Or as Andrew Caldwell says,
deception.
Delusion.
And that's what some of you all deal with your family and your friends and your coworkers, your neighbors. Some of these men are just flat out delusional. You can show them where Trump said the N-word. You can show them where Trump was sued and settled the lawsuit for discriminating against black people specifically. You can show them all of that, and they'll say things like, I'm still voting for Trump. That's delusion. That's delusion. That's what we're dealing with. So don't be surprised. Don't be surprised about this. That's exactly what we're dealing with. And I'm laying out to you how this actually works. All right? Don't forget the steps that we've talked about so far. First, dismissiveness of facts, of knowledge, of information, and of experts and people who could tell them otherwise and inform them. It starts there. And then the denialism kicks in, right? And then the deception, the disinformation, and then the delusion. And last of all, the distraction. Now that's really important because now they're in a situation, now their mindset is that they are completely distracted about what's important for them and their families. They're so now involved in the cult of Trump, have been so thoroughly disinformed that you can tell them about what's really important to African American people, what's really important about the issues that we face as African American men, and they are completely distracted by the disinformation. They're not focused on that anymore. They're not focused on again, things like the fact that African American men are disproportionately incarcerated, that African American men are disproportionately employed and unemployed. That's no longer in their minds.
Or overworked and underpaid.
Because if it was, they wouldn't be supporting a white supremacist who's going to do nothing about any of that, who, in fact, is the reason why a lot of that exists. So they're totally distracted now. They're full into the cult. And that is a sad, sad situation. And that's what we see happening. It's weird. I mean, this level of deception of black men, it hurts my heart. This level of disinformation, that they are willing to do things to hurt themselves, their communities, their children, their grandchildren, supporting a white supremacist movement and a white supremacist agenda that is spelled out, Project 2025, that is laid out, or Agenda 47, or the GOP platform. This is very serious, and that's what we're dealing with here, with a lot of these men. That's what some of you are dealing with some family members. Okay. Now, I'm gonna follow up this video with how we can defeat disinformation.
How can we defeat it, Unc?
Okay, I'm gonna follow up this. What I just did now is about disseminating, how they disseminate the disinformation. The next video I'm going to do on this topic will cover how we can defeat.
Oh, we gotta wait. Okay.
This disinformation. We must do so, because it is infecting, especially the youth. And man, that is so unfortunate to me, and it's deeply concerning.
That part.
To know that the generation of young black men behind me are so infected with disinformation that they will not be on the front lines fighting our number one enemy, white supremacy. And instead of not being on the front line fighting our number one enemy, white supremacy, they'll be on the other side fighting with the white supremacists.
And that's why I said that black men at large, across the spectrum of manhood, need to learn how to love themselves and heal from past shit. I have literally listened to countless lives and panel discussions on YouTube about protecting the children, my children. What about the children? All this shit about the children. Meanwhile, some of y'all who are screaming from the fucking rooftops about protecting children are voting for a man who will send your child to war, to die in a war in which the child, your child, doesn't even know why they're fighting. And then you have certain platforms of red pill niggas who said, you know, well, we have intellectual people on our platform and we have smart people on our platform and we know what we're talking about. It'd be 8 to 10 niggas on there who are allegedly smart. Meanwhile, could not break down Project 2025 at all. Just sat there and told us that, oh, they're just playing the same games they've been playing. You know, all we gotta do is just survive all this. And that's why I say I feel like some of you niggas that are voting for Trump, y'all have the mindset of, if you cannot beat them, then join them. Because the backlash that oppressed groups of people felt in the 80s, because of them choosing to rise and ascend and self-actualize during the 60s and 70s, because some of y'all niggas survived that, now y'all got PTSD and y'all trying to teach y'all children how to survive the encounter, as opposed to creating a world to where they ain't gotta have that fucking conversation. The fact that they're willing to bring back stop and frisk. This came out of Trump's mouth. Who is affected by the stop and frisk? People of color, primarily black and brown people, primarily black and Latino men. And in the words of CTV, if Trump ass becomes president, I hope he gives you every fucking thing within his fiber, within his being, to make America great again. I hope he show you niggas exactly what it is that y'all bought into. So when your son or daughter, before they graduate high school because they're going to a public school, they have to then go ahead and enter into the military or have a military entry exam. But guess who don't have to do that? Those who get into private school, which are primarily white. The destruction of the Department of Education, which means that your child is not going to know how to fucking read. If they don't know how to read, they won't know shit. Which means they're easily more manipulated. Which means they're going to end up in prison. The fact that the death penalty is a favorable thing, to where it could be your black son or your black daughter being executed and they ain't even got to be guilty. Look at Marcellus Williams. For some of you niggas that hate women so much because you decided to skeet up in a woman that you didn't get to vet and figure out, and now you stuck with a crazy baby ass mama. Planned Parenthood was to help you too. Because if you ain't got a condom, she could be on birth control. But if that is removed, I hope a lot of you niggas ready to hear, oh, you the daddy. And some of you niggas ain't gonna have the conveniency to be able to go ahead and drive your baby mama or whoever the hell you just knocked up to Planned Parenthood to get an abortion. I'm reminded, because again, the music that's playing in the background is from one of my favorite movies of all time, which is Tales from the Hood. There's a last story on Tales from the Hood dealing with an individual by the name of Killer K, who was a trapping, gang-banging ass nigga that was murdering other black men. But he had an opportunity to be converted and reintegrated back into society. But he had to deal with some things first. And there was one point where they put him inside of a cage next to a Klansman. And the Klansman looking at him and shit, and he looking at the Klansman, and, you know, Killer K all hard and shit. He told Killer K that he is a part of the Klan and that the great war is coming to cleanse the land of these Negroids. So, of course, you know, Killer K still a nigga. He know he's still a nigga. So what he do? He ends up punching old dude in the face. Starts bleeding profusely, and the dude starts laughing. And then he said, "Hey, nigger, let me ask you a question. How many of your black brethren have you slain?" You all right with me, nigger? Once this war is over with, you'll be one of the good ones, which means that you'll be a slave. So funny, a movie made in the 90s is still prevalent to this day. We are days away almost to this election. And what I believe, and I hope that I am wrong, but what I believe is that no matter who wins, whether it's Kamala, whether it's Trump, shit about to go the fuck down. Because America has been walking on eggshells for so long. The tension surrounding America, the tension within America, I want y'all to understand that America is at its fucking breaking point. And this election is going to push it over the edge. Trump was literally cited to have said that he is okay with having a day of violence. For those of you who are trying to protect your little bubble, you might as well go ahead and burst that bitch right now. Because it's going to get burst. From a spiritual standpoint, energetic standpoint, America is long overdue for an ego death. And it seems like energetically the only time we really want to get shit together is when we all have no choice but to survive. And what I'm pissed off about is, why do we have to get to that point in order to make a change? Because even when that shit happens, we don't even really make a true genuine change. We do what we can to ride this shit out, and then once it's over with, we go back to our regularly scheduled program. And again, the universe only knows two things. That's yes, and it is so. Yes, and it shall be. If 9/11 didn't teach Americans anything, if the race riots didn't teach America anything, hell, Project 2025 wants to take the teaching about race out. And the fact that we are living in the information age, where everything that you say, everything that you share, everything that you put out on the interwebs will always and forever remain there. The fact that we have supercomputers in our hands that we are literally glued to. Even me, I'm always listening to something, a podcast or something. Even when I go to bed, I have to have something playing in the background. To where we can literally educate ourselves to be better human beings. I want human beings to understand that you don't get to just one level and you made it. You get to one level and you're done. No, this is going to happen forever, and not even in this lifetime. Whatever comes after this life experience that none of us know objectively for real until we experience it. But if we are not learning from history, if slaves had slave journals where they documented their abuse, them even documenting the abuse was grounds of execution, because how your black ass know how to read and write when you are a slave, when you're a product? Then it went from slave journals and word of mouth and orated stories to the radio. To where we ain't gotta just read what someone else said and just let our imagination run wild. No, we can hear the voice now. We can hear the vocal inflections. We can hear the intensity. We can hear the pauses. Everything makes sense a little bit more now. Then we went from radio to TV, television, to where now you ain't gotta read it. You ain't just gotta listen to it. Now you can see it. You gonna believe me or you gonna believe your lying ass eyes? And now that we're in the technology age, the internet age, we can blend all those three things up together and do it at a faster rate to where things can go viral in a matter of minutes. And we still not getting it? And we still not learning? And we still not understanding? And we still making excuses? And we still lying? And we still being petty about it? And we still not being accountable? And we still doing all these things? Meanwhile, the children are suffering. The children are suffering. The children are affected by the decisions of the adults who have forgotten that they were fucking children. Or better yet, don't want to think about being children because they had fucked up shit happen to them. And because they were able to survive and they had to push themselves up and they still bitter and hurt and shit, they don't want the next generation to have it better than them. You got to go through the same thing I went through. Then obviously there's no growth there. Because didn't Whitney Houston tell you niggas that the children are the future? Teach them well and let them lead the way. Which means there's a transference of power that you give over to them. Some of you niggas will get on these platforms and speak down, cape down for children. Oh, the children, protect the children. But when you cut the motherfucking red light off, girl, the children in your household got some problems and issues with you. So in November, we gonna see what it give. And I already told my queer people, y'all might as well go ahead and be safe than sorry. Y'all better enroll in self-defense classes. Y'all better find a way to get your CPL or CCW, whatever you want to call it. Y'all better start booking time at the gun range. Y'all better be getting together in groups and cliques, girl. Making sure that if y'all gonna walk around, y'all walking around in a group so motherfuckers will be less likely to attack you. And I don't know, like I said, there's a part of me that's low-key waiting for shit to pop off. Because I see the truth. Baby, it is hot as hell in Hell's Kitchen, baby. And the order, ding, 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 is about to be served. But see, all the people who are fighting in reference to these lines of division are all gonna gag because, like I said, we all about to know what it feels like to be a nigga. We all about to know what it feels like to be a fag. We all are about to experience that collectively. The right and the fever and the motherfucking smoke they've been getting from the left. The queers giving heterosexual people some of that fucking smoke. The queers giving Christian people some of that fucking smoke. It's because y'all gave us smoke for the longest time. And the smoke that we giving y'all is just a little bit. Y'all can't even handle a little bit. But meanwhile, we handled the shit that Project 2025 is about to put out. A lot of us survived that. Many didn't. And for people who are smart, they don't want to continue to go through the same shit over and over and over and over again. But it seems like some of y'all do because y'all ain't learned. And unfortunately, everybody's going to have to end up paying for the shit because y'all don't want to do y'all job. So Joe Jackson finna come home, baby. He's starting with Tito first, may he rest in peace, girl. And then to Michael, and then everybody down. Even to you Reby Jackson centipede ass niggas. So we are definitely going to keep you updated and posted about what's going on with the election and some of the responses. Because again, from a spiritual standpoint, from the root perspective, I speak about these shallow ass issues with everybody else because that's the level they're on. But at the root of it all, energetically, spiritually, there are people in positions of power who are hurt and who are broken and that do not care about humanity. Only thing they care about is the almighty dollar. All they care about is power and control and will utilize any and every means to get it. On some Vince McMahon shit. Yeah, Vince McMahon, he helped wrestlers out. He made wrestlers' lives wonderful. He has created stars that have gone on to do amazing things. But he also fucked a lot of people over. He also utilized his power and his privilege because he thought that he couldn't be touched. And look at him now. I heard someone say, oh, you know, well, God must want black men to suffer. No, God wants black men to heal and wake the fuck up and stop destroying themselves and going against themselves. Because even the trap ass, gangster ass, hardcore thug ass rap, hip hop ass shit that y'all say y'all like, and that's real black men, that's what real men do, that wasn't even created by black men. That were created by white men who understood frequency and vibration and words, or from a esoteric standpoint, incantations and spells, and literally fund other black men and black women to go out and to spew these incantations and spells of death, destruction, and reckless sex, low vibrational sex, to what's really affecting your children, to where your children are listening to the trap ass music that is telling them that they are nothing, or that you're only something if you have money, or if you get your titties and ass done, or if you have this label on. And then for the individuals who end up being unalived because they're manifesting those experiences because of the incantations and spells, guess who gets paid the life insurance policies? It sure ain't the parents, because they the ones over there doing GoFundMes and shit and asking people to hit they damn cash up and shit, cash app up for a damn dinner plate after church. The white record executives end up getting that money. This is all about money and the fact that people will do any and everything for the almighty dollar. But if they actually built community, if they actually loved on other people, if it's one thing a person is going to always remember about you, they're going to always remember how you made them feel. So if you have people coming together in community and loving on each other, those people could be individuals that will help open up the door for you because they remember you. Since I've been down here in Indiana, I've been having a few conversations with my grandfather, who is about to be 90 years old, a black man, who was in an interracial relationship with my grandmother, who is white and Indian, Native American to be exact. And how he experienced a lot of racism just by being black. But even though that was the case, there were some people who liked his vibe and his energy and his character so much that they didn't give a fuck because he was black. That didn't mean nothing. He was a human being. And my grandfather had doors open up for him that was not open up for other black people simply because of who he was. And then there were people who were willing to take a risk and a chance on him. Just like how during the time of slavery, there were white people who also put their lives on the line by helping black people out via the Underground Railroad, using their privilege and their resources. And what happened to those people when they were discovered? They didn't get a slap on the wrist, oh, silly white person, you forgot where you came from. No. They also was an ornament on a tree, Christmas in July. And let's not act like the civil rights movement was hundreds of years ago. It was pretty recent. And for the individuals like myself who are woke and continue to wake up to the levels and degrees of life, that shit is scary. It's terrifying. Do you know how I feel? I'm sitting here trying to figure out how can I have conversations that will open up the door of change. What can I do? And I've always been like that. Even when I was younger, being bullied and made fun of, dealing with depression and suicidal ideations, I still had a capacity somewhere within me to give back to others. Because I could have become an agent of chaos. I could have allowed the hurt and the pain and the discrimination to turn me into a monster. But it was love that kept that from happening. And now that I'm walking in an overflow of love, I have no problem challenging other people who are literally out here causing discord. Because I understand, unfortunately, in this country, the price of freedom is your motherfucking life. But if you die before you die, and that's something that you will only understand once you get to that point, you ain't scared about life, because life can end at any fucking moment. I could be on this live right now and something happen and I'm dead. No one knows the day nor the hour when your time is up. And I spent the past 30 years of my damn life giving and giving and giving and giving and giving without any sort of boundaries put in place. To where I had to walk away from people that I love, that probably compromised whatever friendship that we had. But because it was love and because I'm loving myself, I have to make sure that I'm good. Because someone told me something and it stuck in my head. They said, I'm such a real ass person and a real ass friend that I will tell you the truth even if it does compromise the friendship. I didn't understand it then, but it took me walking in my own individual journey to understand that that's what love is. Love is the truth. The truth will set you free, but can you handle the truth? And the only way you'll be able to handle the truth is if you learn how to love your damn self. And this election is really exposing who does and who doesn't. Get to these comments and then we're going to be done. Shout out to y'all for being in the building. Please make sure you hit the like button. Let me see. Girl, y'all was talking in the comments. Let me see. Deshaun says, the people on Instagram that are straight, when I gave you the video of the gay man that did that came out stories, one of the comments said they are groomers. See, Deshaun, if you can, in the group chat, could you send me that again, or possibly just like it or put an emote on it so I know to look at it, because I might do a live on that tomorrow, because baby, we gonna get into it. Since Project 2025 wants to talk about queerness and stuff from a religious standpoint, where we're going to talk about religion from a queer standpoint. I think that's fair. Like I said, it's equality across the board, whether y'all believe that or not. Let me see. I hate when this shit happen. Hold on, y'all. Let me see. Because Stevie said something. Speaking of protecting the children, did they not hear his response that people needed to get over it as far as school shootings is concerned? And his running mate JD Vance said that school shootings are a fact of life. They don't care about the kids. They don't care about black women. But guess what? They're coming for all of our black asses. School shootings are a fact of life. Y'all keep treating human beings like trash. They will unfortunately become a fact of life. The reason why these school shootings are happening is because bullying is going on, discrimination is going on, and there are some people who will submit to lower vibrational energies, that will subscribe to anger in such a way that that anger will violently spill out onto other people, including innocent people, because the people that weren't even bullying them end up getting shot. The people that weren't even bullying them end up having to see the carnage that leaves them dealing with PTSD. That also, so wait a minute. Hold on. JD Vance said that school shootings are a fact of life. That pictures and audio and video and testimonials from people who have survived school shootings, who have seen all type of children bleeding out and dying. That is a fact of life that should not be challenged or trying to figure out what is causing this to happen. But yet, the drag queens are doing worse to children than actual objective school shootings are. So school shootings and trying to stop school shootings is not in Project 2025, but sexuality that isn't hetero is worthy of something being implemented because it's destroying the children? And these are the people you're voting for. What? Not only that, but he just recently talked about doing away with the Department of Education. That means OCAP Head Start. I mean, that would, I guess, CAB will fuck up Head Start. He would offer nothing to black people and to the black men out here that are considered voting for him. Don't talk to me. You know what I think the reason why these niggas are voting for Trump is because it's kind of like when I had the conversation with Ryan Vugada. Like, Ryan Vugada dealt with a lot of discrimination from black people. And even me, I dealt with a lot of discrimination from black people. I've had racist experiences, but they were in no comparison to the experiences that I've dealt with black people, in particular black men. The first time I heard the word fag was in church and was in school. And I also saw both of those places exemplify what that word meant culturally and societally. I literally have a few scars on my body because from those experiences. I'm sorry, I'm just taken aback by what I'm still thinking about what Queen Stevie just said about J.D. Vance saying that school shootings are a fact of life. I think a lot of these black men forget about the Central Park Five and how he refused to rent to black families. Trying to be a dictator, that's Donald Trump. Nobody wants that. Exactly. He's friends with Putin. He's friends with Jin Kong Il or whatever the hell his name is. Both of those individuals, girl. Byron Donalds, a black Klansman. So there is a Bixby Carlson, but whatever the hell that Dave Chappelle character was, Clayton Bixby or something. What does he think is going to happen? Byron Donalds is a mouthpiece of white supremacy. Yeah, that's why I was saying before I lost my thought, no shade, because the other thing threw me off. These people want to get back at black people. A lot of these men that are voting for Trump want to get back at black people. They want to get back at black women. They want to get back at black women who probably would have never given them the time of day because they're not a high value man, because they have a fupa. Kevin Samuels, the creator of that, said that as a man, you can't be no high value man, girl, if your waist is done lapping, girl. If your stomach is done lapping over the waist, girl. Okay, if you have a fatter upper pubic area, girl, you're not a high value man. And even in the Vince McMahon documentary, the individual said during the Attitude Era where they were more objectifying to women, that these individuals, wrestling is predominantly male, predominantly heterosexual, maybe, I don't know, girl. And they love hot chicks, but they also want to demean the hot chicks because they'll never have a chance with them. So it's kind of like the same thing. Like the individuals who are speaking ill about Kamala, it's kind of like, girl, I'm praying for some of y'all wives and some of y'all baby mamas, girl. If y'all listen to this podcast, blink once for help or something. So they're trying to get back at black people. And no shade, I could have been one of them because I've been hurt by black people. But I had to learn how to heal, and my father healed in front of me. So I believe that black men can become better. I don't hate black men. Hating black men will first of all mean hating myself. And it took me a very long time to get to a point to where I love and affirm myself. To where I'm exploring new possibilities and territories within myself. Because I'm living life as opposed to choosing to just survive. That means that I would hate my future partner, life partner. I want to attract a black man. If it ain't a black man, as long as he is complete and whole and loves me, that's perfectly fine, but I would prefer to be with a black man. I want a black man that is healed, whole, and complete. A black man that loves himself, that loves his mama, that loves his father, that loves his family, that loves his friends, that loves life. That means I would hate my father. That means I would hate my grandfather if I was anti-black or I hate men. When I have good men, good black men around me. But it seemed like there's some anti-blackness within blackness, girl. See, do you see how like Boss Man said, if we could just work on ourselves. Like no shade, when it come down to racism, girl, we black people, we know what to give. We need to be surprised when it's giving something different. Let's be surprised when there's accountability. Then we can, oh my God, then we can make all type of lives about it and go in on it, girl, because they're doing something different. We know what the fuck supremacy gonna give, unfortunately. And karma gonna deal with them, baby, because it's the age of Aquarius. Everybody about to get it. If black people can focus on black people, there needs to be more black conversations about blackness and the intersections thereof. And there are people out there that have the capacity to have these conversations. And I think if we're going to make a change, yes, we all like drama. Yes, we like entertainment, but we need to have more than that. Because if you need entertainment, you can watch that shit on the TV any other time. There needs to be a time where blackness can come together and really have these transformative conversations with people that can have them. That's why I always name objective black men out every single time, despite other niggas trying to gayify it. Because I see the bigger picture. Those are really the down low niggas. I'm not worried about the down low niggas. I'm worried about the niggas that are open and honest and know who the fuck they are, and better yet, secure in who they are. Because if they're secure, they'll be able to do more. That's why I appreciate men like Conscious Lee and Professor Obi, who are both black heterosexual masculine cis men, who call out other black men that be on they bullshit. Because men should be checking men and women should be checking women, which is why I give grace to women more so than I would men. Girl. Stevie says, what does he think is going to happen to him when those mixed kids, and the same goes for JD Vance, anybody who has a shade of brown in their skin, he doesn't like you. But see, that's going to be an issue for white supremacy to figure out, because again, according to them, if you just have one drop, 1% of negroid blood in you, guess what? You're a negroid. And that's again the one thing about the universe, girl. What you resist will persist. Y'all be so anti-black, be so anti-white, girl, to where the universe will be like, girl, fuck it, we will mix this shit. We ain't gotta worry about no anti-nothing, bitch. It would just be what it is, girl. Y'all won't know where it end or where it begin, because you'll be in the thick of it. Bubs, please tell me you saw the debate where Gary Chambers Jr. gathered Byron Donald. No, I have not. I've really been focusing mentally on preparing myself for what the fuck about to happen after this election. And I hope I'm wrong. I would love to be like, just give this loud ad exhale, girl. Shoot. Just let it all. I would love for that to be the case. I would love to get up here and say, y'all, I was wrong. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? I stand corrected. I don't mind doing that. If I'm in the wrong, I will get up on my YouTube channel and say I'm wrong, because I'm on the side of truth. I've been trained to do that. But what the fuck is going to happen, how I feel in my spirit, baby, it's gonna be bad. And the whole world will be watching. And the gag is, if America ends up having a civil war, don't you think that would be the perfect time to invade a country when the country is imploding within itself? But do you know what I think really is going to happen? If you ask me, again, this is just my opinion, and I hope I'm wrong. When I look at history with the 60s and 70s, those in opposition had to find a way to demonize these groups of people, because black people were realizing their power. During the civil rights movement, which was initiated because of Emmett Till, that initiated or sparked the civil rights movement, these individuals allowed for police officers to beat on them, to sick dogs on them, to get the fire department to turn water hoses on them. And not only that, people who were watching it from the TV could walk outside their neighborhood and actively choose to join in the racism with everybody else. But black people took that shit. Black people started doing shit. Oh, we gonna protest. I'm gonna sit my ass right in front of this door, bitch, and I ain't gonna move. You gonna have to punch me and kick me, girl. I'm not moving, bitch. Oh, you want me to sit in the back of the bus? How about none of us ride this bitch? How about that? How about we all about to be at home rubbing our corns and shit, growing every day? I'd rather get my damn big toe amputated before I sit on the back of this bus. And then Martin Luther King, by way of bed resting strategist, shout out to the eunuchs doing their big one. Gave his iconic I Have a Dream speech. Did things in a peaceful way. Didn't swing back. Didn't tell niggas to punch back. Didn't do any of that shit. And they murked his ass. Blackness was on a roll, and not just blackness. Queer people were on a roll too, because again, a black trans woman and a, if I'm not mistaken, Latino trans women of color were the trailblazers in reference to the pride that you see today. Women's liberation, women standing up for themselves, burning their bras. Anti-war at the time, make love, not war. They had to think of something to counterbalance it. See, those niggas have strategists. They have strategy. I don't know about now, girl, because they failing, girl, because they wasn't expecting the cameras to be there. They weren't expecting the microphones to be there. They wasn't expecting the internet to be used in this way. The internet is very unregulated, so a lot of shit happens. But then here comes Ronald Reagan. And if I'm not mistaken, Ronald Reagan was an actor, an entertainer, just like Trump is a failed businessman turned entertainer. Who he was the perfect guy to demonize these groups of people. Implemented crack cocaine in the black communities that destroyed it so much. To where niggas had to sell it in their own neighborhoods just to come up. Meanwhile, going to jail for longer sentences while their white peers doing cocaine, which chemically is the same damn thing almost. Only difference is baking soda in this bitch. They give a nigga 13 years for that recipe. Somehow AIDS came out of nowhere. Came out of nowhere, girl, and just fucked the queer community up. Women were forced back into the fucking closet. I mean, the kitchen. The gays back in the closet, girl. Project 2025 is attempting to do that, but do it in a modern age. And in the way that they do it, with the Heritage Fund, if you do your research on them, they've been planning this for years. The fact that this anti-gay, ex-gay movement is on the rise. Them demonizing the word woke and Black Lives Matter. All this shit with women being too independent, women doing too damn much, women being too damn masculine. Why can't these bitches shut up and make a sandwich? They're trying to do it what they consider to be the right way this time, to get it to stick, because this time blackness is not as unified as it was before. Queerness is not as unified as it was before. Women is not as unified as they were before. And now with this whole immigration thing coming on, now there's this ideology or idea that America is out of order and America has fallen into chaos and there has to be somebody to come in to come fix this, to restore law and order to this lawless and orderless country. And Trump's gonna be the man for it. For you Christians, didn't it say something in the Bible about a motherfucker being an antichrist and one of his attributes is he's going to come in and solve all these problems? But it will be a false way of solving these problems, because these problems were already created and he was given the answers to solve these false ass problems, as opposed to doing it the real way, which is through love. Anti-Christ, anti-love. To the point to where, and I was talking to my grandfather about this yesterday, how there are literally pictures. They got mad at queer people reenacting what is considered a Christian image, even though it's been replicated multiple times by other TV shows and there was no problem for it, no issues with it. Meanwhile, these motherfuckers have a Trump Bible, even though I was told the King James Version is the only Bible you should read. That there are pictures, literally illustrations of Jesus Christ, the white permed out Christ girl, passing the crown, passing the torch to Trump. This is literally the depiction of motherfuckers choosing Barabbas over Jesus. And for those who really ride with me, I already told y'all before, and I keep reminding myself, and I'm gonna remind y'all, my shit may not have the views as of yet. But once shit hit the fan, what the fuck I've been saying is gonna hit a lot differently, I promise you that. Cause some individuals gotta see for themselves. They gotta have their name, their experience included in the shit too. And when they do, oh my God, Bubs, what you was saying, oh my God, Bubs, you was wrong. And my thing is, I'm not no nigga out here that toots my own horn. Because what I do, I learned from somebody else. It's something that we can all learn to do, because we all have God inside of us. But the signs are right there in your face. And when you deal or have knowledge of things, I have a basic understanding. I still want to grow in it, but a basic understanding of the esoteric. That's why things are hidden in plain sight. That's how spells and incantations work. The reason why they work is because somewhere on a subconscious level, you have to participate and engage in it as well, energetically. They got to tell you or give you an idea or give you a small glimpse of what they want the reality to be. And they do it in such a subtle ass way to where subconsciously you play into it. It's like, y'all, if y'all do y'all research, all the people who make fun of conspiracy theorists for the longest time, girl, are sitting here with they damn face looking at y'all like, now what? Now what? Who was lying? Who you said who was lying? But again, with human beings, and I understand, sometimes fear can prevent us from going forward. I know what it feels like to submit to fear. I know what it's like to be comfortable with fear, because at least with fear, I know what the outcome is going to be. Even though the outcome hurts me every time, at least I'm comfortable and familiar with that. Ever since 2020, for real, like I said, I've been learning to really walk within my own power. I really delve deep into my introvert energy to find out who the hell BubzDaGawd is. I didn't want to ride on the coattails of nobody. I had to find for myself. I had to lose myself in love so I can love other people better. I know what it's like to have lonely ass nights. Yes, I could have picked up the phone and called somebody and talked to them. But what happens in the moments where I do pick up and call somebody when I really need them and they ain't there? I still have to find God, source, universe, consciousness for myself. And I was so afraid of finding it for myself, which is why I spent the majority of my 20s trying to delve into romantic relationships that put me in situations that could have been detrimental to me. Even though I have both my mother and my father in my life who loved me and loved me through all of life's journey up to this point. I had all of that. I had people in my life who affirmed me, but I didn't affirm me because I thought if somebody in a romantic way chose me, then I could choose me. And the universe kept telling my ass every fucking time, no, 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 not gonna work, not gonna work, nope, nope, not gonna happen, not gonna happen. And then the universe said, okay, bitch. Since you so adamant about this, I'm gonna let you have this experience and we gonna see what you do with it. And for those of you that want to know that story, y'all can go in my archives because I already did a live and gave a video and everything, spilling my own tea. To where I was in a situation that became very dark for me because here I am investing all this time, effort, and energy, and I think it's going in one way, and then on top of that, sex is involved, and I don't have casual sex, never have, and I don't have it now. You gotta be one dope ass motherfucker for me to want to smash you without getting to know you, for real, for real. And I haven't met anybody yet that has been able to make me do that. No shade. To where I started having very dark, depressive ass thoughts that I thought that I would never experience again because I experienced those as a child, being bullied for being queer, even though I didn't affirm it until I was 18 years old. Openly, that is. I know what it's like to wake up and feel like your life is put on pause. And you still gotta go to work because your bills don't care about you being depressed. I can't take my tears down to the electricity company, girl, the water bill. I can't pay my bills with tears. I can put a payment arrangement, you know, no shade. Shout out to the payment arrangement. Sometimes we need to do what we need to do. But I can't pay with them with my tears. And then I have to go to work. Then I have to smile and put on this whole front even though my world is falling apart and I'm having a fucking midlife crisis, girl. And then on top of that, because the sex was so damn good, girl, you waking up out your sweat, your sleep in cold sweats and shit, girl, because somebody is hitting that and it ain't you. Just all type of shit. So even for some of the men that talk about sex, I understand it may be a different hole, but a hole is a hole, girl. It achieves the same thing. Okay? But throughout that journey, I realized how desperate I was. How unloyal I was to myself. How I allowed people to use me. that I would give and give and give because I'm trying to be Captain Save a nigga. Meanwhile, I'm receiving scraps again, overworked, underpaid, but just in a different way energetically. And that if I was going to be in this reality, miserable and plugged into the matrix like everybody else, just blindly going by, at least let me have someone to come home to at night. And God, source, universe, consciousness said, first of all, why do you continue to limit yourself to such a very minimal experience when there is so much more that you can do? First of all, I'm protecting your damn heart and protecting you as a person, because where you're going, and this is the universe speaking to me how I'm receiving it, that you just can't have no weak ass nigga with you. You don't need an individual that comes with red flags and you trying to paint them bitches green. No. You need somebody that comes along knowing how to ride with you. And then on top of that, when that person shows up, do you even love yourself enough to accept them? Or will you do what others have done to you, which is, oh, I don't know if I'm ready for this. And guess what? If they're not ready for you, that's okay. I'd rather them say they're not ready for you than pretend that they are and fuck stuff up. So as a black man who happens to be queer, I still had to push myself. Now granted, yes, I had an excellent representation of what that looked like. A black queer man motherfucking healing in front of my damn face with his own shit and still doing it with grace, style, humility, and was able to be human. And was not afraid to be vulnerable and really show that vulnerability is really a strength. And that all things are working for my good. And then on top of that, when it come down to dealing with your ops, girl, you deal with your ops when you ready to deal with them. Cause them hoes are putting out the energetic karma, and the energetic karma is gonna be staying there waiting. So if she gonna be calm, cool, and collected waiting to cut, why should I hurry up and jump? Hell no, girl. I'm a strategist. I'm a eunuch. But to literally learn to love yourself and share the good news of what self-love is. We're seeing the people that are at these very high positions, a lot of them don't love themselves, which is why they have to exert all this power and control and dominance over other people, conquering other people because there's something inside of you that you haven't reconciled. But the gag of it all, or the funny thing about it, is that it don't matter how much fucking money you have, what your title is, what you can do, and all this shit, bitch. At the end of the day, you are a fucking human being, girl, which means that you, whether you want to or not, are subjected to the laws of the universe. And one of the laws of the universe is cause and effect. And because we are in the age of Aquarius, which is the age of justice and the age of truth, it is also low-key the age of destruction. And mankind has two options. They can either choose to destroy the limiting beliefs that have been placed on them and actually rise and ascend and get over the fucking hump to manifest the actual hope and dream of the slave, or for those who are human, who were connected to the fucking earth and had a mutual relationship and understanding, a healthy codependent relationship with the earth. Or Mother Nature is gonna sit her ass back, unhinge her bra in the back and let them titties rest, And she gonna sit back and watch humanity destroy itself. The fact that y'all are willing to vote for an individual who is clearly an egomaniac, who has said very deplorable things in his campaign runs, all type of racist shit, femphobic shit, xenophobic shit, queerphobic shit. An individual who wants to be friends with other psychos in positions of power, has the Klan and the Proud Boys, individuals who openly believe in white supremacy and superiority, not equality, not inclusion, like their Lord and Savior asks for them to do, but superiority, to skip Jesus and get right to God. An individual who's also a convicted felon, an individual who literally caused or was the cause of hundreds of thousands and millions of deaths in America due to his lack of letting the American people know that Carisha-19 was in America. 3 months later, told people you can either drink bleach or inject it into your veins, called Carisha-19 the Kung Flu virus. And you literally have niggas up here who are saying they're voting for Trump because you don't know what's gonna come out his mouth. They looking at it from a more entertainment aspect. At this point, maybe it is something in the grits. Maybe it is something in the motherfucking tap water. Maybe it's something in the Kool-Aid packets. Maybe it's something in the ham hocks. Maybe it's something in the food, in the water, in the air that is making people choose their own destruction. And no shade, this music kind of amping me up in a little bit, because if we're going to apply the heat, let's apply the heat. Girl, if hell is here, girl, let hell be here, I guess. Some of you individuals are pathetic excuses for parents. Some of you individuals are pathetic excuses for human beings. The fact that you would have children and teach your children to play this fear-based ass fucking game, to cloak your children in your ignorance, in your fear, in your biases, and then sit up there and have the nerve to deny your child the opportunity to do what the fuck a child also does, which is explore and be curious about shit to figure shit out for itself. Y'all so afraid for that to happen because y'all don't know how to do that for yourselves. Some of y'all have not grown up. Some of y'all are just older. That's it. It's just an age thing. I have literally watched individuals like YB Entertainment, individuals, and I forgot his name, from Surviving 305 right now. The buff nigga, they call him Jackhammer. That's coming to my mind now. Him. How they both were a product of the foster care system. Old dude for Surviving 305 been to family court 5 times because his mom was choosing crack cocaine over them. And the last time they went to court that they saw their mother for the last time, they asked the mother, Do you want to take them, or do you want them to be the property of the state? And their mother just looked at them and started crying. Told the state, you can have them. YB Entertainment shares his experience about what he had to deal with in the foster care system. And shout out to YB, because YB is going through his own ego death. And he gonna be a better human being before, because YB Entertainment be speaking truth to power. I wonder if these individuals who are Republican watch YouTube channels like Soft White Underbelly. I forgot the name of the other channel, but there's a channel, literally, I think it may be on YouTube, but I saw it on Facebook, where there will be people who will share bizarre ass stories, wild, crazy ass stories. Oh, I was raised in a satanic cult and I was to be sacrificed. Or having parents that molested their children. Parents that beat up on their children, abuse their children. Let's not forget about the story of little Gabriel, who was dealing with objective abuse and lost his life. Y'all don't care about children. Y'all don't care about humanity. You just care about yourself. And care about yourself only. Be so desperate to prove yourselves to other people as opposed to proving who the hell you are to yourself. All this hate, all this ignorance affects everybody. Because we are all human. Despite the lines of division of what your pastor said, the reverend said, your pope said, your Catholic, whoever the hell the person said, we are still under the umbrella of humanity. And America has taught us to be so damn fake, to hold up the status quo, to where there are literal groups of humanity in America that are crying out for help and they're being told to shut up. The same way how people will walk past a homeless person, don't know their story, don't know what they've been through, but automatically label them, oh, you're lazy, oh, you're this, whoop-de-whoop-de-woo. Until it's your ass on the street. Until now, that's your story. And a lot of y'all walking in ignorance gonna have that same exact experience in reference to you being in the shoes of those you oppress. None of y'all can stop death. None of y'all can tell death to behave forever. So until you do that, we are all equal. The reason why this stuff is so systemic is because, again, if America was the land of the free and the home of the brave, then that means black people can rise and ascend without there being a gatekeeper there to prevent them from doing that. Just like with Black Wall Street. But again, the property now has sentience. The property now has awareness. And because they are the ones that are making us the money, because they're doing the labor, they know how, they already know what to do. They know how to go about it. They know how to create or manifest tangibly the item, the thing, whatever it is. And they can promote it within their own communities, which means they can even surpass us. And that's the funny thing, like even with these movies about machines and stuff like that, how these machines end up turning on humanity. Hell yeah. Because a lot of times when we think about machinery and AI and technology, we see it more to serve us as opposed to coexist with us. We don't even respect it. You force something to do something that you want all the time. That's a form of slavery. What if that thing that's smarter than you, allegedly, girl, starts to have sentience? They're going to fight back in rebellion to the slavery. The oppressors will end up being oppressed. That's why we have to break the cycle of oppression. Because in some cases, even with blackness and even with queerness, if they do get in certain positions of power, some of them end up doing to the others what was done to them. So a lot of the people right now, unfortunately, that are responding to, oh, the queer people, you can't just say nothing because they cancel you. Maybe it's because y'all were the individuals that were trying to cancel queer people, and now you understand what it feels like. You can't say anything. You can lose your job. You can lose your house. You can lose all type of stuff. Hell yeah. Well, that was the case for queer people for the longest time. But again, your Lord and Savior said, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, which is why you got to be aware. Because he wasn't just talking about consciously. He was talking about subconsciously too. He was talking about in the deep, dark recesses of your mind as well, where you can hide your thoughts. You can be looking at somebody in the face and be smiling. Meanwhile, in your head, you over here hurling all type of insults. In your mind, you thinking about choking them. You think God don't see that? Okay, y'all. I've been here a little too long. Anyway, thank y'all for joining me for this live. Again, shout out to Deshaun and Queen Stevie, who always be sending me so much content. It'd be like, that's how I know when it come down to BubzDaGawd, girl, it's gonna be very, very hard to debate me, girl. One, because I had a dope ass teacher to learn from, and secondly, I have people who be sending me shit all the time to where, girl, I have so much in my DMs to where I could be like, okay, girl, where do I want to start? Because again, when BubzDaGawd gets up on the platform, I know what the hell I'm talking about, and not only do I talk it, I back it up with my actions. And when I am speaking on something that I may not know or may not understand, I'm still aware enough to say, ignorantly speaking. So anyway, shout out to them. If you can, please make sure you hit the like button because it helps this channel to grow in the algorithms. We are back at 820 on the road to 1K, slowly but surely. Again, quality over quantity. All right. If you like the vibe over here on BubzDaGawd, you can click that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so that you can stay up to date with all of my lives and edited content. If there's anything in this live that you liked and you want to share them in other spaces, places to generate conversation and just bring awareness and context and nuance, which is what we definitely need, please make sure you screen record and share it on your social media platforms, wherever you want to share them, and tag me in them. I am BubzDaGawd, any and everywhere. And speaking of BubzDaGawd, you can definitely hit me in the Cash App, $, BubzDaGawd. We take any and everything that jingles and folds. Okay, your gifts and your talents will make way for you, and I'm believing that in my life. Okay, No shade. Shout out to King Deshaun. Shout out to Queen Spicy, Queen Stevie in the building. Shout out to King Harold in the building. I think that's all who came through. Shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all. Okay, they said I don't give a damn, but do not despise small beginnings, baby. And I'm short. I'm a leprechaun, so you know I'm okay with that. All right, but shout out to y'all. I really appreciate y'all. Please make sure y'all share. And until next time, y'all, get my little outro thing in here. Peace.
I can be anything I choose in this round. We are a sound vibration too deep to tell. Just so you know, I'm the best.